The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The Jets are making moves. Jermaine Johnson has been traded to the Tennessee Titans, and the Jets have acquired T'Vondre Sweat. We're live from the NFL Scouting Combine, and it's not about the draft. It's all about the Jets. Let's hit it.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
Live from Radio Row in Indianapolis, it's Combine time as teams look for their next superstar. Some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment will be right here. Get ready for the 2026 draft, baby. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Live from Radio Row, it is indeed the Jake Asman Show, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Hit the like button, and if you're a Jet fan, you're going to want to be subscribed to the channel. We're on our way to 50K. We're at 44,000 right now, and this show is going to be a big one. Did not expect to be doing a breaking news show live from the Combine, but that is exactly what has happened. First reported by Adam Schefter, the Jets are sending defensive end Jermaine Johnson to the Tennessee Titans in exchange for defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat. The trade cannot be processed until the start of the new league year in March. Look, the immediate takeaway to the Jets trading Jermaine Johnson is that clearly the defensive scheme with Aaron Glenn now being the play caller, Glenn hiring Carl Dunbar, all signs are there that the Jets are going to be deploying a 3-4 front. Way more of a 3-4 than what we have seen. Aaron Glenn said his superpower is play calling. Well, now he is going out there and addressing what it will take for him to run his defense.
Play call is my superpower, really.
We're going to find out because this is a bold move. Of course, Jermaine gets reunited with Robert Saleh. It makes sense. It is a perfect scheme fit, as we know, for Jermaine with Saleh. And T'Vondre Sweat, he was not a scheme fit for what Saleh was running, but he's certainly a scheme fit for seemingly what the Jets will run. The Jets appear to be moving towards that base 3-4. In that system, a massive space-eating nose tackle is essential to plug the middle and free up linebackers. And Sweat fits this role perfectly. He's just 24 years old. He's still got 2 years remaining on his rookie contract. He was a second-round pick not that long ago. He's 366 pounds. He's elite at what he does. And again, we know what Saleh likes. He likes these smaller, faster linemen. So to get a better scheme fit, the Titans made Sweat available and vice versa from a Jet standpoint. He provides the Jets with a high-level run defender who has shown flashes of interior pass rush upside. And Jermaine Johnson's future was certainly up in the air because you knew that Jermaine Johnson was going into the final year of his contract. You knew that. He was going to play on the fifth-year option, and it was unclear whether or not he would be the ideal fit for the defense the Jets are going to run. And with the Jets having the number 2 pick in the draft, I think this now clearly sets the stage for the Jets to take a defensive end of their choosing. Some are speculating it will be Arvell Reese. Some are saying it will be Reuben Bain. Some are saying it is David Bailey. I believe this trade means Arvell Reese is going to be drafted by the Jets second overall. That's my read on this. I think when push comes to shove, Reese will be the pick. I think he will test out of the kazoo this week in Indy. And I think the Jets will fall in love with a 20-year-old with that level of upside. But my initial reaction to the trade is, well, I really like the player in Jermaine Johnson, and it's certainly unfortunate that Achilles injury happened, ironically, against the Titans in week 2 of the 2024 season. He became expendable when you're picking number 2 and you have all these edge rushers available. You're going to pick up the 5th year clearly on Will McDonald now. And look, you traded an asset to get an asset who better fits the head coach's defense. The head coach is on the hot seat. The head coach won 3 games in year 1. He's taking control of the defense. He needs to get guys that fit his scheme. Aaron Glenn is coaching for his job, as he should be. He was a disaster in year 1. We don't need to sugarcoat it. So he's got to get players that fit what he needs to do. And I don't think anyone could argue that Sweat is a better fit for the scheme the Jets are going to run. So I don't think we should be surprised by this. I would say this, it's a little bittersweet with Jermaine. He seems like he really wanted to be a Jet and wanted to be a part of the turnaround here. Seems like he was a really good guy. In fact, not seems, I know that Jermaine Johnson's a really good dude. So it's bittersweet to see another guy from this great draft class of 2022 that gave us hope as fans once again with Sauce and Garrett. And JJ was the third first-round pick of that class. Many people think it was Brees. It was Jermaine. They traded up for him. And he made the Pro Bowl as an alternate at the end of year 2. And really the Achilles injury just affected him, I think, so much in his first year removed from that. And now he's gone. So we never really got to see what Jermaine Johnson could do at full potential with the Jets. So that part's bittersweet. It feels like Brees will be back. So we're down to 2 as far as like that big 4 of first and early second round picks that the Jets made from that historic 2022 draft class. So ultimately, I understand why the Jets did this. I understand why at the end of the day, the Jets felt like Jermaine was expendable. And I think T'Vondre Sweat is a really good player. Honestly. His rookie year, he appeared in all 17 games, 16 starts, had 51 tackles and a sack, played 667 defensive snaps. That was more than any other rookie D lineman that year. He established himself right away as a premier run stuffer. This past year, an ankle injury limited him to 12 games, but he showed growth as a pass rusher. He recorded a personal best 2 sacks, had 18 quarterback pressures. PFF ranked him as the 5th best interior defensive lineman out of 134 qualified players because of how good he is against the run. So, look, this trade happened because Robert Saleh's scheme doesn't fit the player, and Aaron Glenn's scheme doesn't fit the player. So they made a deal. And again, it's a little bittersweet because Jermaine Johnson, I felt like, really could have been a part of the solution here. And now we won't know. But ultimately, I think the New York Jets, I think they got better as a football team for at least the immediate based on this move. This is a clear fit. Now you look at the Jets' defensive line. Sweat, Phillips, Briggs, a lot of size. We've had callers say they want the Jets to get big. Well, how's 366 pounds of big in a trade? Put that next to Phillips, who's a glue guy. Harrison Phillips, I believe, will be a team captain, true leader. And then you put Jawan Briggs, who I think is really an ascending player now. You put him on this defensive line in a system that should really fit him. You have pretty good depth on the defensive tackle part of your D-line now. And now I think from a Jet standpoint, all eyes will be on pick 2. I think it's going to be Arvell Reese. 3-4. You can play him as an outside linebacker. You can line him up and have him go rush the quarterback. It's a projection in that regard, but everyone I speak to thinks he could do it. And from just talking to people around Indy this week, that's the sense I get, that it's going to end up being Arvell Reese. And we're sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. The latest betting odds reflect the fact Reese is minus 115, the favorite to go number 2 to the New York Jets at this point. But ultimately, you look at the moves the Jets made and are going to make. This is just the start of things, because they're not anywhere close to being done. They got to completely revamp this defense. You look at the defensive end room now, specifically. Michael Clemens is a free agent. Please, for the love of God, don't bring that man back. You got Will McDonald, and who else is in the defensive end room now? It was Will and Jermaine. Now it's just Will. And they're going to pick up the 5th-year option on McDonald, as they should, because I think Will McDonald was put in a spot where he couldn't utilize, to quote the head coach, his superpower. The head coach said he'd coach him up. He did the opposite. Will McDonald, I think, has shown you he's super talented. The Jets need to be in more games. They need to not be trailing if you want to unlock what Will does really well. So I'm all for keeping him. Pick up the 5th-year option. There's good value there. But now let's see how the Jets address the rest of the room. because they have the number 2 pick. They have pick 16. They have pick 33. They have pick 44. It is a really good edge rushing class. Maybe there's not that Will Anderson Jr. in this class or Abdul Carter a year ago, but there's some good players, including at number 2. And with this move, I'm seeing, according to Spot Track, the Jets clear $13.4 million in cap space by trading Jermaine Johnson. So before they even do anything with Justin Fields, who they could save even more money and get probably over $100 million, if my math is correct, by using a June 1st designation on him, the Jets would then have close to $90 million in cap space, close to 100 after they make that Fields move. So now pick 2 is going to be Reese, Bain, or Bailey. We could forget the Caleb Downs stuff. Maybe they trade up for Downs. If he starts to slide, they come up from 16. But the reaction, I believe, to this is Caleb Downs not going to be a Jet. One of the 3 edge rushers will be a Jet. And then the question obviously becomes, which one? And I'm going to go on the record and give my prediction right now. I think it's going to be Arvell Reese when push comes to shove going to the New York Jets. So Jet fans, how we feeling? I'm live at the NFL Scouting Combine. I'm going to be joined by guests throughout the day. I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's tuned into our content. We could not do these events. I'm a one-man band, all right? Independent outlet here doing a Jet show without the Asmaniac community. So thank you for that. We have Asmaniac Madness. The bracket reveal show will be this Sunday night at 6 Eastern. So get ready because that is going to be a blast. And I just want to thank everyone who's tuned into our content throughout the week. At the end of this live stream, we're going to raffle away a signed Wayne Corbett helmet. So make sure you send in super chats, $10 or higher to qualify, or you gift the community a channel membership. Our raffle prizes in the weekly raffle, which will be on Saturday because I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, so it'll be tough to get a second live show, will be a signed Joe Namath helmet, signed Darrelle Revis helmet, and a signed Garrett Wilson football. So when you enter today for the Corbett helmet at the end of the show, you're also in for that. Big thank you to my guests this week, Mike Florio, Jordan Reed, Zach Rosenblatt, Nick Faria, Dan Graziano, Connor Rogers, Trevor Sycamore, Omari Brown, Rich Eisen, and some big names yet to be announced. So we got a lot of big things that are coming your way. Right now, though, I want to hear from the Asmaniacs. Call in, give me your reaction. Jermaine Johnson traded. Jets clearly switching their scheme significantly. Sweat fits the scheme better than Jermaine, and you have number 2 in the draft to now obviously replace Jermaine Johnson. And it shouldn't just be based on, hey, we have pick 2, take the edge, and we're done. The Jets should be aggressive in free agency and really try and get better depth at that position. We talk about how the Jets did not have an interception this past year. A big reason for that, where's the pass rush, right? How do you get interceptions in the league? Sometimes you just get lucky, right? Sometimes it just bounces off a receiver's hand and it goes right to a defender. Jets never seem to get that luck. But you know, you get interceptions in this league, your D-line bats down passes in the air. Bats it up in the air, I should say, not down. You know, your pass rush affects the quarterback as he's throwing, so the ball lollipops in the air, or affects the timing of the route for the quarterback and receiver. The Jets did not get enough pressure last year. McDonald had 4 sacks in that one game against Cleveland. He finished with 8 on the year. Jermaine was in and out of the lineup. You get nothing from Clemens. Phillips is a nice player, but you're not going to get pass rush from a run-stuffing defensive tackle. Briggs gave you a nice boost, but you got nothing with any of the blitzes by Wilkes. They were predictable, and teams knew what was happening. So the Jets, with Glenn, are going to play a lot more 3-4 man. They're going to blitz. You have to get pressure. And that's now the goal, I think, for Glenn at pick 2. Who's the guy that fits the scheme in the best way possible? Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Appreciate everyone who is tuned into the show. Got this text from someone close to the Jets on the move. Quote, I'd encourage Jet fans to not think 3-4 versus 4-3 when drafting players. It will be multiple. They needed to get a guy for this scheme no matter what. And it will be interesting to see what the pivot now is. So that's from someone in the know with the Jets thinking on the trade, a text I just got. Let me get to some super chats here. I appreciate everyone for their support. First things first, King in Dreams. K&D is the first to enter today's raffle. He is in for 5.
Play call is my superpower, really.
And K&D's superpower is gifting memberships to the best listeners in sports. Doug with our first super chat here. He says, Now that it's obvious it's Bailey or Reese, thumbs up. It is obvious that it's Bailey or Reese. I don't think we completely dismiss Ruben Bain, though. It feels unlikely if it's going to be a true 3-4. But again, I don't think it's going to only be a true 3-4. There'll be multiple. So we will see. Delray Doc with a super chat. He's in the raffle for 2. Good morning, Jake. Thank you for the great news. I really agree with you. This starts everything in motion. Great trade. Yeah, I think Muji and Glenn made a good deal here. Again, it's bittersweet for me as someone who really likes Jermaine Johnson, the person, and just thinking about what could have been with this Jets draft class. But we got to move forward now. It's a new era of Jets football. They got 4 picks in the top 44 this year. They're going to have close to $100 million in cap space now. They got 3 ones next year. Like, go build the version of the Jets that's actually going to win. And I think they're a better team with Sweat and then, let's say, Arvell Reese at 2. By the way, Arvell Reese is staying at the same Airbnb I'm in. So I had a brief conversation with him this morning, but I didn't even realize it was him until after. So if I see him later, you best believe I'll be talking to him. Yesterday, I was the only media member in this town to get the exclusive interview with Fernando Mendoza.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
You won't find coverage like that anywhere else, folks. Let me tell you. Julian with a super chat. Trading J.J. hurts, but defense needs to be built up. It does. It's bittersweet. He was going into the final year of his deal. I think it was clear the Jets were not going to be in a position to extend him off the year he just had. From a Titan standpoint, I mean, any other Jets they want? Hey, Robert Saleh, you want Jamie and Sherwood? Can we get off that contract? That's what I want to know. Cashmere Black says, to be honest, I kind of like the trade for us. I think it's a good trade. I don't hate it at all. I just think it's bittersweet if you're a Jet fan, right? I have a Jermaine Johnson jersey. I barely got to wear it, I feel like. Yeah, I got it right before he got hurt. And then, or I got it before the season that year. And then this year, like, I didn't wear any jerseys after, like, week 5. I was just depressed. Thomas writes in, Jake, does this give any momentum to the Jets and Titans swapping 4 for 2? Salah might love one of the Bailey, Bain, Reese, and he loves pass rush surplus. I don't know if this directly impacts that, Thomas. It's an excellent point by you. If Tennessee wanted to come up from 4 to 2, I don't know if the Jets would necessarily do it. What if they want the same player? Like, the Jets making this move clearly have an idea what they're going to do at 2, right? Because you don't trade away Jermaine Johnson for a player and not a pick, right? The Jets very specifically wanted to get a player that fit their defensive scheme they're going to run, which is why they got a big defensive tackle for their 3-4 base defense. And again, when we say 3-4, it doesn't mean they only play 3-4. That's not today's NFL. But they will play 3-4 a lot. And you make the deal for Sweat because he's going to fit the scheme you're playing. You then don't potentially risk going from 4 to 2 if Tennessee could take the player you want. So I'd be a little surprised. But again, Sauce Gardner got traded not because the Jets were shopping him, because the offer was too good to pass up. If there is an offer that is too good to pass up for the Jets to move back 2 spots, I think they would obviously consider it. Julian Vasquez is in the Asmaniac raffle for 2. The defense needs to be built through the draft. The offense can be tweaked in free agency. Re-signing Brees, signing Willis, and getting a wide receiver 2 is a must. Give Frank Reich a chance. Safety is also a need also. I can tell you this, Frank Reich is an early bird. My sources spotted him at the Starbucks coffee line in the 6 a.m. hour yesterday. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing, but I thought it was amusing. Again, the defense should be built through both free agency and the draft. Did you watch New England build their defense? Did you watch Seattle build their defense? There's no right or wrong way how to build your team. You build your team through the mechanisms you could build it. Darren Muji built part of the Jet defense for this upcoming year with shrewd trades. Harrison Phillips, Jawan Briggs, Jarvis Brownlee. Should he only build it through the draft? No, he traded late day 3 picks to get good football players that could help the New York Jets win football games. I know it's a novel concept for some, but the goal for the Jets is to win games. It'd be nice if that actually happens, but that's their goal. And you build your team however you could build it. So it doesn't just need to be built through the draft. I think the Jets need to spend money in free agency to fix safety and linebacker. All right, it can't just be Alex Anzalone. Get a big-time safety. Get Cam Curl from the Rams. Sign a safety, sign a linebacker, sign multiple. Then you also have 4 picks in the top 44. You could definitely address both. And yes, wide receiver 2 is a must, Julian. I agree. let's see how the Jets go about that. Do they want to do it at 16? Can they get one of these guys to fall? Would they be willing to move up if, say, they love Mekhi Lemon? They know he won't be there if they don't. The Jet offseason really started with this trade. The possibilities now are endless. Things are happening, baby. And we're in Indy to talk about all of it. Sam with a super chat. He's in the raffle for 2. Where are all the extra draft picks? Would think there'd be a 5th and a 7th worried about this draft. Well, I don't know if you've seen this, Sam, but the Jets have an enormous amount of draft capital. Obviously, we know about the premium picks, 2, 16, 33, 44. But they also have pick 103. They have a couple of comp picks coming their way, as you see on the screen. 175, 178, 193, 207, 218, 242. They have picks. That's not the issue. Tristan Oliver Photography says Bain greater than Reese, greater than anyone but Bailey. Again, I really like Bailey. I wonder if he's a true scheme fit now. Way smarter people than me are going to have to talk about that. We will have several draft experts on the show to, in fact, discuss that. Doc Jet Fan is in the Asmaniac raffle for 10. Hit it.
Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets!
If you got a channel membership from Doc, make sure you say thank you. Again, we're giving away a signed Wayne Corbett helmet at the end of this very stream. Appreciate everyone being tuned in. We got over 800 people watching live. Please subscribe to the channel. I talk Jets every day. I'm the only Jet content creator that was at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Super Bowl Radio Row with my own table that had every Jet that was at the Super Bowl that week on the show. Tyrod Taylor, Hendon Hooker, Harrison Phillips, A.D. Mitchell. They all came on the show, as did Gary V. We had Rich Eisen on our show yesterday. This is the home if you're a diehard Jet fan like I am. So I want you guys to subscribe if you haven't. We got big things coming to this channel. And you know what? Let me blow the lid off this right now. Hey, Jet fans coming to Pittsburgh. Listen up.
Draft Day 2026 live from Pittsburgh. Jets Nation on the clock. Gang Green take Fat McFadden's day and night draft party hosted by the Jay Gasner Show.
Thursday, April 23rd, doors open at noon.
Let's go! Yeah!
We are headed to McFadden's Pittsburgh for an NFL draft party on April 23rd. Doors open at noon. I'll be there during the day doing my show. After the Jets make their picks that night, I'm headed back to McFadden's to do a live instant reaction show to what the Jets do on night one. If you're a Jet fan headed to Pittsburgh, first time we've held an Asmaniac event at the actual draft. It is free for anyone to attend. McFadden's is right down the street from where the draft will be. There'll be a DJ playing all night, food, beers, drinks all night long, over 40 TVs and big screens in the venue, a stadium atmosphere. We're going to have a link coming soon for people to RSVP. It is totally free. We're starting at noon, and we're going live all night long, baby. So if you're coming to Pittsburgh or you're interested in coming to Pittsburgh for the draft, the Asmaniacs are taking over at McFadden's Pittsburgh. Shout out to my guy Lou B, who's the architect behind this, making this happen for our great community. We'll have more info as we get closer, but I wanted to announce this because we got a ton of people watching live. It's such a big show with the Jermaine News. McFadden's Pittsburgh for an NFL draft party on April 23rd. Let's go. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. A big fella in the house with a super chat that gets him in the raffle for
Good
two.
job.
Who would have thought Michael Clemens would outlast JJ like a virus we can't shake? Sweat is massive. I threw out Sweat's name with Dom C. Can't believe it happened. Crazy. 6'4", 370. Going to stuff the run. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And he's a guy that fits the scheme better than Jermaine does. That's the bottom line. That's why they made this move. Jermaine was a free agent at the end of this upcoming season. You clear cap space. You inherit a deal with Sweat. He was a second-round pick, so there's still 2 years of control on it. I get the deal. It's just, I think it's bittersweet because I really like Jermaine Johnson. And again, I think the Jets need some real leaders. There's a leadership void. And JJ, I felt like, was one of the few leaders they had. So now what? Nick M with a super chat. Bring back JFM. Built to be a 3-4 DN. Sad to see JJ, but good to see we could still do business with Salah. I feel like JJ would have been better now that he's healed, but glad we got a good DT. Again, I agree. I like the deal. Doc Jet fan writes in, you no longer need a DT with the 16th pick. Trade up to 7 or 8 by trading 16 and 44 and grad Lemon or Tate. Agreed. We could stop mocking like Caden McDonald. We could stop mocking some of the other defensive tackles that I've seen. Peter Woods to the Jets. You can't rule it out because they did take a corner last year when they didn't need a corner in AZ Thomas. It could simply be BPA. But doesn't it feel way less likely? I think it does. Mike D's nuts in the house. Well, I guess I got a signed JJ jersey to give away. You're not the only one. Amanda Madison super chatted us. She won a signed JJ jersey. Should I still frame my Jermaine Johnson jersey? LOL. Love. That's a tough spot, Amanda. Tough spot to be in. Comments, questions, super chats. Cut the line. Kane D writes in. Big up my G. Jake in the chat. Been traveling the whole month. Colombia, Brazil, now in Orlando. FYI, but I've been tuning in when I can. Love the trade. Amen. I like the trade too. It makes sense. Delray Doc with a super chat. Thank you, Delray. Jake, you killed it with the interviews this year. Definitely, you gave us premium coverage. Certainly the best anywhere. Doc, thank you, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed the content. It's been a lot of travel. This is our third tentpole event in the month of February, but it's all worth it for the community. Kyle Clifton in the raffle for 2. Maybe Lee Hunter still in play at 33. 0 tech and 1 tech versatile. 33, I think you're looking BPA in a lot of scenarios. Now, for what it's worth, who told me Lee Hunter could go? I think it was Jordan Reed mentioned Lee Hunter as a possibility at 16. I think that's a little early for him, but Jordan knows better than me. Now, I don't think they would take him. The great Rat Diddy is in the house. He gifted 5 memberships for the community. If you got a membership from the Rat Diddy, make sure you say thank you. Leany in North Carolina checks in. Love JJ, but needed the run stuffer. Hopefully this works out. Well, I think what people need to understand, too, with Sweat, he could offer more than just being a true run stuffer. I think he has untapped potential as a pass rusher. And Carl Dunbar, who the Jets hired to be their D-line coach, I believe could get the most out of him. So I think Dunbar was a good hire, and I think he can maximize the potential that we're just kind of scratching the surface with, from my understanding, with Sweat as a player. K&D says, I'm pulling up the Pittsburgh. Excited to meet y'all. Can't wait, K&D. McFadden's Pittsburgh Jet fans. It's going down. Big fella writes in, Sweat was the number 5 rated DT by PFF. He's a good player, man. He's a good player with untapped potential. Comments, questions, super chats. Cut the line. We got some special guests that I know are going to be joining us. We're going to take some calls as well. And again, for those tuning in late, a signed Wayne Corbett helmet is the raffle prize up for grabs at the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, to your calls, we now go. First up today is Doug on the bed. Hello, Doug.
Jake, how you doing this morning?
Living the dream, Doug. What's going on?
Not much. I was in the super chat, but I like the trade. I mean, for both sides, it's good. You know, Jermaine, he gets 3 a night with Salah for the Jets. They get Sweat, who fits the scheme better. You clear some money, too. It's clear you're going pass rusher at 2. I'm fine with Bailey or Reese. I would put Bain a little bit below them. I'm not saying he's not going to go, but my preference is Bailey or Reese. Won't be mad with either of those guys. Also, this opens up pick 16. A lot of people are saying D tackle. This opens up 16. Hopefully it's Lemon, or if it's Styles, whatever the board breaks. Also, this opens up your strategy in free agency a little bit too, because a lot of people were maybe saying, oh, go get a DJ Reader and all that stuff. Now you don't have to overspend on a D tackle. You can use that on a safety. I would like to get Jaquan Brisker, and you can use that or on an edge. Maybe get, I think Adatha Owe is a free agent or someone. So you could use that on an edge as well to bolster the edge room, because besides Will McDonald right now, your edge room is kind of thin. So this fits your scheme. It's a good young player, frees up money. I don't think there's any reason to not like this trade.
I think the reason why you wouldn't like it is only because, hey, what's the scheme a year from now if the coach doesn't work out? But you can't think that way. You know, because Jermaine's going into the last year of his deal. So what if the next regime didn't even want Jermaine Like, you can't operate that way. You got to operate like what's in the best interest for your team right now. And Sweat's a good player. He's under contract for 2 more years.
Yeah, and like you got to give. I think Muji has shown you so far when making these trades. I know it's Glenn, but Muji has shown the trades have worked out for the Jets for the most part. Like, I think if you look at all of our trades that he's done since Muji has been GM, is there any you can say, man, I didn't really like that trade?
Well, the trade up for like some of the day 3 picks.
The day three
discuss.
picks, but for players.
No, overall, I think he's done a very good job with the in-season trades last year for players like Phillips, Briggs, and Brownlee. A.D. Mitchell being in the Sauce deal is good. A good job. Mechie as well. I like the take the swing on him as well. And obviously the extracting of value, what they got for Quinnen and Sauce with the 2-1s is phenomenal. We know that.
And then now for DT, you can go sign a vet, like bring back Sheldon Rankins on a good deal. I think this just frees up so much more for the Jets to do. And like you said, it's only the start. So it's a good start to the offseason. Now you got the free agency coming. But I don't think there's any way you can really man, this trade, why would the Jets do this? I don't see much downside to this. He's still young, elite run stuffer. And you said there's untapped potential, I think, in the run passing. And I know we had to see it, but I do think this staff is better than the one we had last year. We do have guys who have the experience you want in the NFL. So I do think you're going to get the better out of these players with the staff, at least on the defensive side, for sure. It's better. And then on the offense, still needs to be done. But like I said, I think if you're a Jets fan, there's not really much you can be like, man, I can't believe they did this.
Doug, great call. Great call. Well said. Again, I think it's a little bittersweet. I know Jermaine's a fan favorite, but ultimately I think it's a good move. A move that I understand the Jet thought process with, so I'm not going to be critical of it. We have to hope that the change in defensive scheme, change in defensive coordinator / the head coach now being the de facto DC.
Play call is my superpower, really.
Gets the absolute most out of Sweat as a pass rusher because he's already a good run stuffer. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your outstanding super chats. Doc Jet fan says, still don't know what we have in Glenn, but starting to believe we have an elite GM. Thanks for all you're doing this week, Jake. You are elite as well. Man, I appreciate it, Doc. I like Muji a lot, and in conversations I've had with people this week, I feel much better about our future with Muj than I did before the week. So, again, Muji is thought highly of, I believe, around the league, and that's encouraging. Now, Joe Douglas was thought highly of, too, and we all loved him at the beginning. But, we're looking for anything right now, so I'll take it. Mike Perez in the raffle for 5. We have Sweat. Let's get JFM back. Jake always makes player friends to the show. Pittsburgh, here we come. You clown-sucking D-bags. Great callback. To Pittsburgh we go. We announced it. Draft party, McFadden's Pittsburgh. Free for all as maniacs. More info to come. But, baby, it's going down. Weeb the Dweeb. Glenn must love the Titans players since they got the corner from them last season. And future Jet / Asmaniac on the way in October. Hopefully not on Sunday. Hey, Weeb the Dweeb, congratulations, man.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
A new Asmaniac is on the way. Weeb, congrats to you and your family on that. Everyone wish Weeb some well wishes here. He's expecting a child in October, he just wrote. And look, I'll be the one to say it. Weave, congrats on the sex.
What? Calm your freaky down.
All right. Fire Aaron Glenn says Aaron Glenn getting rid of everyone except himself. Well, Fire Aaron Glenn, if you wait a year, you might finally get your wish. We'll see. The Hamburger in the house, just stopping by to say hello to all the great Asmaniacs and, of course, the great Jake Asman. Hamburger Selection Sunday show, 6 Eastern this week, this Sunday night. See you there. The Rooster with a super chat. Getting Sweat, a stud in the middle, should have an impact for us that Williams had to New England. We now replace JJ with one of the top 3 DNs at 2. Very excited. Again, I think it's big time. Lee Van says, when is the next Knicks meetup? I lost access to the Discord. Lee, first things first, connect your Patreon to the Discord. There's a new setting we had to implement through Patreon for Discord access. It's super easy. Ask Sham on Discord. Message him. He'll help you if you don't know. But go on your Patreon. It's the pinned message on how to do it. It's super easy. You just connect Patreon to Discord, and you'll be in there. And by the way, please join my Patreon, folks. By the end of the month, today's the second to last day of the month, third to last day of the month. I lost track of time. We'll update the names in the countdown ticker at the beginning of March here. So go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show if you want to get in the Discord and get all the bonus perks we offer to Patreon members, including a commercial-free airing of the Don't Call It a Comeback doc on the Monday Night Miracle that I was featured in with Fireman Ed, Curtis Martin, and others. Rick Kent checking in. Muji gets better every day. And by the way, Lee Van, there is no Knicks meetup because I'm doing a draft party instead. We're going to do multiple baseball meetups this summer. A Yankees one and a Mets one, preferably. But I did want to say that the draft party is the big thing I've been working on. So let's go. Hey, shout out to Rick Kent. He says Muji gets better every day. The Mooch. I like Muji. The Hamburger. He's in, gifting 5 memberships for the best community in all of sports.
We are mama way.
Hey, Rich, Tavondre Sweat, what do we think? Thumbs up? Better for the scheme? Yeah, who knows? Yep, that's life as a Jet fan. That's Rich Eisen's thoughts on the Jermaine Johnson trade there, folks. For those who missed my interview with Rich, he was on yesterday. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Can we get to more calls? Load them up if you're out there who wants in on the conversation. I also am going to be joined by some special guests live on the show, and then I'm taping some huge interviews later today. I don't want to spoil anything, but you better be checking the channel the next couple of days.
If Mad Max ain't yapping about Jets, that boy, he's jamming, he's slamming, freaking dancing, wall smashing. I'm Jake Asman. If Mad Max ain't ever stopped yapping, that boy, he still be dancing. Then call Jake Asman. He got an orange wall.
Max?
What's up, Asman? What's up, Asmaniacs? How you guys doing today? So let's have a couple. Can you still hear me, Jake?
Can you hear me?
Honestly, we have a couple points. So let's talk about the Jermaine Johnson deal. So, I mean, I think it was an okay deal, but we got to get defensive players. You know, we do have $3 billion, Jake. So with the $3 billion this year, we're going to get all the ice base. We're going to have We're going to get a lot of players. We're going to do the peak breaker strategy. We're going to get all the players who have muscles. Like, look at these muscles. We need to stop getting players who are quitters, who are that are just losers. You know, we got to get players that win. They fight. They just have a lot of fight in them. You know, Jake, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're gonna do the Beast Breaker strategy. I mean, these are the players that fit the Beast Breaker mold. Alec Pierce, you know, that guy's a baller. Best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL.
Good job.
And then Montez Sweat also fits the Beast Breaker mold. Fits my mold. He has a lot of muscle. He's like one of the best pass rushers, run stoppers in the National Football League. In time, he could be a very good pass rusher with Dunbar's scheme. But in the draft, you know, what really fits it is numbers Malachi Lemon 16. We don't want players that have finesse or wishy-washy. We need players that have muscles, you know. We got to get the All-American mold, you know, as players, you know what I mean?
Mac, show us how Aaron Glenn is celebrating the trade. Is he doing the salsa dance, to quote you?
He probably is, but I'm walking to class. I can't really play the salsa dance, you know.
No, I don't want you to play it. I want you to do it. Stop what you're doing. If you want people to vote for you.
This is Aaron Glenn right now. He's going to be like, this is Aaron Glenn. He's going to be salsa dancing, you know.
Hold up. Put your phone up against something. Let's go. This is how you get votes in the tournament. Let's see it, Mad Max.
I'm just walking to class right now, but once I can find a good place, we'll do a little salsa dance.
Put your phone down. Put it up against a tree or something.
True. See if you can see me now, Jake.
Okay.
This is what Aaron Glenn is doing to celebrate the trades.
Okay.
The salsa dance.
Yep.
This is what Aaron Glenn is doing right now to celebrate the amazing trade this morning. Honestly, that's how he's celebrating the trade.
Mad Max, never change. Keep doing you.
Sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he goes.
What do you guys' opinion on me doing a backflip through this orange wall?
One of the all-time greats. Richie from Jets Media is going to be joining me in a couple of minutes. He finally got a flight out here, and he has arrived. We got a lot to talk about. A lot happening in regards to the state of the New York Jets. Ladies and gentlemen, some super chats here. Thank you to Raumo 2004. Long time no speak, Jake. Love the trade and definitely agree on Reset too. I think it's going to be Arvell Reese. That's my read on it. From some sourced conversations with people this week, that's the feel I get. And just now with this trade, I feel better about that take because I think he fits the scheme, and I think they'll bet on the 20-year-old with incredible upside that could play outside and also could line up as a true edge. Dan, the Jet fan, with a super chat. Do I think this points to edge rusher at 2? Yeah, they're not going to take a safety. Super chat from Kale Joseph. Hit the like button. Great content, Jake. If everyone out there, all 800 people watching, could hit the like button. We only have 212 likes. It'd be a huge help for the channel. Also, if everyone could subscribe if you're new around here, we talk Jets every day, 4 hours a day. I'm as insane as all of you, because let's be real. If you're a Jet fan watching content off a 3-14 season in February right now, you're sick in the head and you love this team like I do. So smash the subscribe button. And again, for those of you just tuning in, the big announcement, besides Jermaine Johnson being traded for T'Vondre Sweat, we're headed to Pittsburgh for the first ever on-site Asmaniac Jets draft party.
Draft Day 2026 live from Pittsburgh. Jets Nation on the clock. Gangrene take Fat McFadden's day and night draft party hosted by the Jake Asman Show.
Thursday, April 23rd, doors open at noon.
Let's go!
Oh, it's happening, baby.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They're getting nuts. Nuts, I tell you. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Let's get to more of your calls, shall we? On the Gusbuster umbrella hotline right now is...
Adam is cool, although kind of basic. He claims he's too cool, though often quite basic. He makes great jet points, looks a little basic. Adam is cool, too cool, but basic. Some would say generic.
Hey, Jake. Thanks for the breaking news. It really got me out of my seat this morning. Pretty happy.
The Jets are always doing something, man. It's crazy.
I don't know how Muji does it. He really threads the needle, and I think this is really good. Overall, I mean, I think the player. I think we're getting to know Sweat, like reading up on him because he was like forgotten on the Titans, but he was a good player, and I think it helps us make up for the loss of Quinnen. So that's pretty sweet when you think about it that way.
Sweat is sweet. No, he's a very good player, and he fits the scheme.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess in the end, as much praise as we're having for Trader Muji, remember we used to love Trader Joe. If you bomb on drafting the QB, you're cooked. Doesn't matter how good you do at any other position. You got to draft QB right. So hopefully next year will be the prove it moment for Muji, no matter what happens.
Look, I think Muji has done very well with these trades to this point. Obviously, it's got to translate now to winning some games, but that's much more on the head coach, I think, than the GM at this point. But again, I understand what they're doing here. I think Arvell Reese is a lock to be a Jet. Not a lock. Nothing's a lock. I think Arvell Reese is the overwhelming favorite now to be a Jet, and I'm going to place a hefty wager on FanDuel immediately after I get off the air here, because at minus 115, I think that's a great value because he's going to be looked at as the consensus, I think, by the end of this week. So there will be an opportunity, Jet fans, to make some money if you put a bet on Reese right now. That's my take.
And that's what I love about this trade. I think Muji's going to create this perception that Reese is inevitable, and you never know. You might get an unusual trade offer too for number 2.
Or people will not want to make a deal with the Jets if they don't want Reese because they know, well, why are we trading up the 2? The Jets aren't going to take our player anyway.
I still think it's Downs, but I think if Reese has an amazing combine and now, people are looking at the roster and they're saying, well, we need an edge or we need someone really spectacular, on the edge. I think it'll absolutely could create some more potential for trade interest, which is, again, really cool because I still think Downs is the answer for us. I think when you think strategically, I think Downs is better.
I don't think Downs is going to go 2.
Okay, well, I think Reese will go 2, whether we pick it or not is the real question. But
yeah, again, if someone wants to come up for him, I'll certainly listen. I like Reese, but again, if someone wants to make me an offer, I can't refuse. Like, I didn't want to trade Sauce Gardner. Then I saw they got 2 1s and AD Mitchell. And I understood it.
he's had a history of like getting these really interesting trades going. The other question I had was, is there a possibility that if we do move to 3-4, do we just move Will McDonald to linebacker?
Yes, there is a possibility because he's such a great athlete.
Yeah.
Connor Rogers told me he thinks he could do it.
I think he could do it. I think he'd be phenomenal because I think he'll have the background to like play because he has that edge background, right? He moved back to linebacker might be better for, his frame, and it gives him more freedom and flexibility to run because he really is. That spin move is still like top tier. Like people can't navigate it. Everyone knows it's coming, but you can't stop it, which is pretty sweet, especially if he gets a running start. So I'm really excited about, how that's going. And, props to Muji for making another really interesting trade that makes sense. Cause like when people objectively just think this makes sense, then, it's probably a good trade. And very interesting that Tennessee loves trading with us as well. Looking forward to that week 1 inevitable matchup with them in Nashville.
Oh yeah. Jets taking on the Titans in Nashville. Saleh versus Glenn. Saleh versus the Jets. Lock it up, Adam. You know it's coming. I could see it. I also could see the Jets going to Buffalo. This theory was said by Brian Costello of the New York Post, and the more I thought about it, I agree with him. Bills opening up their new stadium. Maybe they want to schedule an easy opponent for them. Jets played the first ever game at the old Ralph Wilson Stadium. They played the last ever game at the old Ralph Wilson Stadium. Couldn't you see the NFL giving the Bills a cupcake week 1? I hope it's Titans-Jets. That'd be a great Asmaniac meetup game. Hey, does Saleh want Jamie and Sherwood? I'll say it again. I said it before. Can you give us a pick for Sherwood, Saleh? Take him off our hands. He's a scheme fit for you, Bob. I'll do that. That'd be nice. I'd take that in a heartbeat. Man, what a day. Jets just giving us something to talk about. Bino with a super chat. This was all Muji. Glenn can't competently call a timeout. Does anyone believe he's masterminding trades? Well, to be fair to Glenn, he's maybe not on the phone with Mike Borgonzi of the Titans. Muji is because they've already done business together, right? They made the trade in the regular season at the end of September when they got Brownlee. So they're obviously making deals. Like it's the GM on the phone, but I'm sure Aaron Glenn is saying, hey, I'm interested in trading Jermaine. What can we get for him? Oh, we could get Tavondre Sweat, who's a better fit. And then Glenn, I'm sure, watched film of Sweat and go, yep, he's perfect for what I need. But ultimately, Muji's the one swinging the deals. Muji's and the scouting department are the ones that identify Jawan Briggs as someone they could get. Muji has distinguished himself tremendously. Mark Yachenko in the raffle for 5. Great news, draft party here in my hometown. Can't wait to meet everybody. I'll get some memberships later to celebrate. Question, super chats. We'll cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, Macho is up next on our show. What's up, Macho?
What's up, Jake? How's everything?
Good, man. Good.
I just want to say I love the trade. Absolutely love the trade. I love the moves that Muji has been making since he's been here. I think that everybody that he's gotten has gotten some type of they had some pedigree to them, whether they've been working out where they currently are or where they're projected to work out here. I think that the thought process going into every single trade so far has made sense as far as just Mozzie Smith, AD Mitchell, John Mechie, Jarvis Brownlee, taking these shots on players that aren't exactly names that are popping out there, but when they come in, they have a kind of vision for them, for the team, and they have been working so far. I think AD Mitchell and John Mechie still have some question marks. We'll see how they kind of work out throughout the year, but specifically with this trade, Jermaine Johnson was somebody that I love, but he's also somebody that was going to have to be paid very soon. I think with this Sweat trade, that kind of resets the market for us. We don't have to pay Sweat for another 2 to 3 years. So that helps us out there. And then that also still leaves the door open at number 2 where we could basically take anyone.
Yeah, look, I think they're going to take Reese. I'm just connecting dots here. I think he makes the most sense to me off this deal, but things change. I think what's clear is, at least in my opinion, I don't think they're going to take a safety at 2 or a receiver. I think this move was made with defensive, and maybe they haven't finalized 2, but they must like at least 2 of them if you make this deal. That's my read on it.
And I think it's perfect, too, because it doesn't really kind of tell the other teams exactly what we're doing, because it still opens the door. Even if we did like someone like Downs, I don't think that's someone that we take at 2, but that still opens the door for us to trade down to try to get Downs at another spot, maybe 5,
Correct.
6, or 7.
Someone's going to want to have to come up, though, Macho. I think it's easier said than done.
Of course. Of course, but I think that also doesn't telegraph for the other teams to where they know exactly who we're going for, where they'll be less likely to trade, where they think, oh, they're not going to draft our guy anyway. So that now it doesn't really telegraph, where hopefully that still brings interest for number 2. Now, as the draft process keeps going, I think that actual interest for number 2 will start growing even more. Now, hopefully somebody is willing to pull that trigger.
Well said, Macho. Good call. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, Richie from Jets Media is going to join me shortly. Right now, though, let me talk about one of our great sponsors, Cheers. I took some Cheers this morning. I won't lie to you people. I was out late last night here in Indy. I got a chance to connect with Chris Banjo last night, by the way. Great dude. Had an awesome conversation with the best coach on the New York Jets, our special teams coordinator, Chris Banjo. But I'm feeling it after a late night. And when you're not feeling great, you need to use Cheers Restore. This is not just about dehydration. Alcohol impacts your brain and your liver. Cheers Restore is a dual action after alcohol aid designed to support both. It was created by a Princeton student after researching a compound called DHM that showed powerful alcohol-related effects in the brain and liver. And this stuff's legit. Cheers has been on Shark Tank. It's sold in over 30,000 stores like CVS, Walgreens, and 7-Eleven. They've sold over 50 million doses, and it has thousands of top reviews. It's also backed by doctors, so you know it's the real deal. The promise is simple. You feel about 50% better the next morning or your money back. Just take 3 capsules after your last drink or before bed. This is normal for adults enjoying a few drinks responsibly, not college-style nights. And I was responsible, don't you worry. So here's the play. Same night out, way better morning. Head to cheershealth.com. Use the code ASMAN, that's ASMAN, pronounced like Jasmine with no J, for 20% off your entire order. That's cheershealth.com, code ASMAN. And after you purchase, make sure you tell them the Jake Asman Show sent you. All right, Richie from Jets Media is going to be joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, Jets Johnny is one of the biggest trolls we've seen. Muji is AG's sidekick. I didn't say that. Woody Johnson said that, Johnny. Listening is fundamental. Your listening sucks. Woody Johnson referred to Muji as Glenn's sidekick at the introductory press conference. I think it has been clear over the last now year and change, Darren Muji is establishing himself as a guy who's not some sidekick. He knows what he's doing. He's not some just guy that says, yes, Aaron Glenn, do whatever you want. Yes, master. That Muji actually has a good feel for the trade market, negotiation, seemingly. I like the way they're handling the Brees situation. So please, for the love of God, get your hearing checked. That's all I have to say on that. Anyway, quick break. When we come back, Richie from Jets Media will join us. Want to get to the raffle at the end of the show. Again, all of you out there, let me know your thoughts on the Jermaine Johnson trade. Are you a fan of it? Thoughts on Sweat as a player? I'm going to ask Joe Blewett to come on our show next week and do a film review on Sweat so we could get some breakdowns on him as a player. But from what I've been told and people that I've been texting with during the show, it is a perfect fit for what the Jets want to do. Quick break, and we come right back with our first live guest on today's show, Richie from Jets Media. He sits down at the Radio Row set right after this.
As for Spanish. They'll give you both languages. You guys think that they blasted someone onto the moon, but they can't deliver a package.
I'd like to speak to an agent, please. Now. I said now.
As for Spanish.
El por favor. They just hung up on me, sons of bitches. It's because everything is, AI, artificial intelligence.
I don't think people walked on the moon. Right?
Explain this then.
Yeah, you were there.
Half the other calls call in and tell Charles to get a job. But if I tell a woman to stop being loud, get a husband, and stop being a hoe, I've crossed the line. But telling Charles every day, he's fully aware that he needs a job. But I just wanted to go back at Briga. He's my least favorite person I think I've ever spoken to. And I mean that in a real way. How's it going, Dave?
You're far from extraordinary, my friend.
No,
you reach fireball levels calling me worthless, okay?
Of no value.
That's all I can say.
Just to clarify, of no. But by worthless, I meant of no value.
You're a valued person. All you do is condemn people.
I don't condemn anyone.
You condemn everybody else.
Who did I condemn?
Everybody, all the time you're on there condemning
single person. That's one lie. Continue.
Hey, don't ever call me a liar. Fat mouth. Don't call me a liar, fat mouth, okay? Hey, I'm 32 years older than you, and I don't fear you one bit, buddy. You shut your mouth about me. You call me worthless? You crossed the line.
Conversation. This is going to
You're an idiot.
This guy doesn't listen.
I'm listening. Go on. I'm listening.
Talking.
Spout it out, bird brain.
Shut the hell up. If you want an answer, shut your mouth.
Say it.
What's your question?
What's your question? What's your question,
I don't
bird
have a
brain?
question. You asked me a question, you retard. This is
You're a retard. You know what? I'd like to knock your face out of that wall.
I don't care
What
you
is
think
your
about
daily
anything.
activity?
I'm a
What do you
father.
do all day? What do you do all day?
When you ask a question, wait for the answer.
Okay, answer.
You're
I've asked.
socially
I'm waiting.
retarded. You're 74 years old. You have
I'm
no basic
waiting.
social skills. Just shut your mouth and stop talking. 74 years old and this socially
Well, go on.
retarded.
Hey, don't ever call me retarded. Hey, fat face. Don't call me retarded.
Stop talking. You're
Speak.
74 years old and no one ever taught you how to have a conversation? It's amazing.
You're just a provocative person. That's all.
So is Jesus.
Don't compare yourself to the Lord. You're far from it, my friend.
I'm like.
Well, okay, that's great. Are you a born again believer or what?
Of course, I'm a born again believer. I was born again 13 years ago.
Good. That's good to know. At least you got one thing going for you. One thing.
I don't even like. I think you have a heart for Christ. I do. I just think you have no social skills. I think Christ can use you. I do. I think you have.
Oh, you know exactly. You know everything. You're a man of great value. The man that knows everything. The man that corrects people. The man that condemns people. The man that takes scriptures out of context on a daily basis.
Bobby to get a job. You do that all the time. You do that
That's what they need. They need to have.
Why does Charles? Why? What says who?
Charles. Did you see the language this man used?
If Charles wants a job bad enough, he'll get a job.
He
doesn't need you to hold his hand.
I'm not holding his hand. He needs to be productive in life.
I don't know what Charles does all day. I have no idea what he does all day.
I don't know what he does. Probably nothing. You know, he likes
Charles. Charles is a grown man. He's not 16. He's a grown man. He knows what he needs to do.
He's not a grown man. He needs to grow up.
He's 32 years old or something like that.
He's 32. That doesn't mean he's grown up. Yeah, he may be sized up, but he's not mentally sized up.
If he wanted a job, he could go get a job.
That's what they're trying to get him to do. That's all.
He doesn't want to do it.
But he has to try. He's just wasting his life away.
Not only does he not have to try, he's not going to try.
He can't live like this forever.
He might get so desperate that he becomes motivated, but he's not at that point. I can't do it for him.
Well, we want the best for him, right?
I want the best for him. I'll pray that God blesses him with motivation. I'll bless that God blesses him with a job, but I can't make him go get the job. I can't go out there and get it.
He has to get to the point where he realizes that. You know, stop that terrible language. His language is horrid.
Fuck you, Dave Berger.
All right, well, we don't have anything else to talk about, so...
From the mouth comes an overflow of the heart.
Well, there you go.
Not you. You don't have a potty in your mouth, but people with a potty in their mouth have a sewer in their heart.
Well, yes, everything comes from the heart, so... All right, well, take care of yourself.
Dave, be good. God bless you. I do think you have a heart for Christ. I do.
The Lord put it there, not me.
I agree.
It's all by the grace of God. So sin that remains, penalties been paid for, dominion no more, but the sin remains, okay? God bless. God bless everybody. Come to Christ.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of that Rumble had to have been Jesus Christ, right, Nick? We're back live from Radio Row here at the Indianapolis Scouting Combine, and my guest is a good friend to the show. I join this man every week on the Jets Roundtable with Matt O'Leary as well. It's our guy, Richie Stickers. Richie from Jets Media sitting down. You finally made it to Indy, and the Jets are being the Jets, making a big splash to kick off the offseason.
Jake, I'm ready to, first time at the Combine, I'm ready to get some interviews, and then breaking news, the Jets make a trade. Okay, well, there goes me getting into interviews with these prospects because we got to talk Jets. We dominate these events.
It's unreal, man. I was just joking to you off air, Senior Bowl barely got to go to some of the practices because they fire Engstrand one day, hire Brian Duker, the Duke of Defense, the next, and here we are at the Combine, all the talk about all the prospects and the Jets are trading Jermaine Johnson, which to me, my initial reaction is this clearly sets the stage for them to take a defensive end. I believe it will be Arvell Reese when it's all said and done at pick 2.
And I remember on the Jets Roundtable, a big topic that we discussed was potential trade candidates that the Jets are going to be trading away. And Jermaine Johnson was the face of that. And I thought there was a big decision that Muji and AG had to make on either Will McDonald or Jermaine Johnson. I don't think they're going to keep both of them long term. They have to choose between one of the two. And I think they're going to pick up Will McDonald's fifth-year option. This also frees up cap space as well. And I look at this trade very simply. It's a win-win for both sides. It's a scheme fit for Tennessee. Sweat did not fit the solid scheme. Jermaine Johnson obviously does. Sweat is going to fit perfectly in the Glenn scheme as they need a perfect defensive tackle to really build out that piece. And they're going to be able to get, like you said, Jake, his replacement right away at pick number 2.
Yeah, your thoughts on Sweat? Do you think there's still a lot of untapped potential there in him?
Yeah, I mean, he was graded out as a 5th best defensive tackle on PFF. He was like top 3 or 4 in run defense. He's a 362 pound, 6'4" monster, former 2nd round pick. I think there's still room to grow. He's cheaper. He has 2 years of contract on his deal, and he's young. It's not like, and Jermaine was 27 years old, Achilles injury. I love Jermaine Johnson, but I think that this is one of those moves where I love that Darren Muji is targeting players back in trades. They're not trading away Jermaine for picks, which is more lottery tickets. You're getting somebody that has played in the NFL, that's perfect scheme fit. And now you have Harrison Phillips, Jawan Briggs, and Sweat up the middle with McDonald off the edge and a potential rookie coming in at pick number 2. I feel like the defensive line is coming together.
I mean, look, clearly the scheme is changing. They need to get bigger up front. They're doing that with this move. And now they need to be aggressive, not just with the 2nd overall pick in the draft, but use free agency to your strengths as well. Rebuild the defense. Let's look at the secondary. Get a safety or 2. Get a linebacker or 2. And put yourself in position where, yes, you're probably taking, let's say, an edge, likely to me, Arvell Reese at 2, but that still gives you a ton of flexibility to truly go BPA with your other picks in this draft.
I agree, man. I think this defense now with Aaron Glenn being more hands-on with it, there has to be a huge improvement, man. There's no excuse anymore. There needs to be an interception week 1, and we got to start getting some turnovers, and there's need to be an influx of talent. I think safety and corner is going to be something the Jets are going to be prioritizing. I don't think the Caleb Downs situation is something we need to really talk about anymore. I think that was just a fun little conversation. The Jets are definitely getting him an edge at pick number 2. And I think in free agency, they're going to be aggressive. And I heard Darren Muji mention this to Eric Allen of the Jets. Their free agency approach is going to be all veterans. They're looking for guys that bring in that stability because they have a very young roster.
You know what that's
so
code for? Our leadership sucked this past year, and we need new leaders.
Absolutely. You know, the only leader I really trust on the team right now that are on contract is Garrett Wilson and Harrison Phillips.
I know.
I mean, like, outside of that, who do you look at on this Jets team, players-wise, and say that guy's a leader? Jermaine was kind of that guy, but he was in and out, wasn't really himself. So they need leaders, and I think that's important. I think Jets fans need to open their minds to a free agency. They're not going to be splashing and getting guys that are the best players on the field. They're going to be prioritizing guys that can be leaders and instill, and as Harrison Phillips said, get rid of that cancerous mindset that a lot of players have.
It's bittersweet to see Jermaine be traded, though. I like the move. I understand the move. But you just think back to that draft class, all the hype and excitement, and it felt justified after that first year, even the second year. And now we're just down to 2. Brees, probably year to year, likely will be on the tag if I had to guess. Garrett's the long-term guy for sure, but no Sauce, no Jermaine. And people forget it wasn't Brees who was a first-rounder. It was Jermaine as the 3rd first-rounder that year. The Jets traded up to go and make that happen.
Don't sleep on Jeremy Ruckert. He survives. Extended, baby, in that class. But now,
Michael Clemens, he's still technically on the team for
now.
now.
He's a free agent. Let's see if he comes back. But I think that I agree, man. That draft will always be remembered for me as a fan and as a content creator. My reaction when we drafted Jermaine Johnson, like I wanted the Jets to draft him at either 4 or 10, and then we trade back up into the first round and get him after still getting Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. I got nothing but love and respect for Jermaine Johnson. I'll be rooting for him in Tennessee. He's going to be a baller for the Titans. And right when I heard, because my intern Dom broke the news, oh my God, Jermaine Johnson just got traded. Before I even knew, I'm like, Titans. Guarantee it's the Titans because I know Salah is targeting his guys.
They want Jamie and Sherwood next.
Yeah,
we get out
and
of that
McDonald
contract?
probably.
Man, I would love to see if they could get another deal done. Look, the Jets and Titans now have done 2 trades since Darren Muji's taken over
Jarvis Brownlee. Yeah, it seems like, and this is a perfect trade from my opinion from this perspective, Jake. It's a win-win for both teams because Sweat did not fit what Salah was building. Johnson did not really fit what the Jets are trying to build on defense with Glenn, and then you just swap them out. And now look
what's happening. Things happening. Jets offseason fully underway. Gifted memberships flying off the shelves. Janice Jet, the latest to enter our Wayne Corbett autographed helmet raffle at the end of the show. I'm so excited I can't speak. Fireman Ed, here we go.
And here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go is right, Janice. You're the best. You're in for 10. Good luck. Joe the Jet with a super chat here. I'm scared that we're trading Garrett next. I can promise you, Joe, Garrett Wilson is not being traded. He will be on the 2026 New York Jets.
Stop watching Dan Mitchell content because you already made a TikTok that Garrett Wilson's now on the trade block because he's trying to press our buttons. Jets fans, attack Dan Mitchell because I already attacked him on the line. I'm like, get out of here. This is not me now. Garrett Wilson's available. Like,
Come
give
on.
me a break.
It's not a fire sale at all. The Jets are making a trade to be better in 2026. Sweat fits the scheme. Jermaine was expendable. He's better for the wide 9 Salah scheme. Sweat is a 3 tech. He doesn't fit Salah. So both teams made the trade, not because these weren't good players, or they were having fire sales, but because they wanted players that fit the Jets. It's not quite a new head coaching step, but it's a new scheme that Glenn is now taking over. It's not Wilkes anymore, and that's what's happening.
I think it's a perfect example of a win-win trade. I really do. I don't think one team you can say won the trade. I mean, we'll see which player really does the best moving forward, but it's like what you said, is a perfect scheme swap to fit what these new coaches are trying to implement here with both the Jets and the Titans.
Wow, this is a holy bleep moment here. A 20 spot of gifted memberships. We haven't had one of these in a long time. Mutt Vials in the raffle for 20.
That's my boy.
You know Mutt?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know Mutt Vials. He's the legend.
I'll tell you what. Dinner will be now paid for by me to Richie because he made it, and he just provided 20 memberships for the community. Mutt, this is for you. Let's go.
Through and supported. Look at that.
Oh, my God. 10 memberships in the raffle. Let's give him a Jet chant. Hit it, Gruden.
It's J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
Normally, when I get a 20 spot, I make it special. I open the umbrella, but I don't have my Gustbuster with me inside this convention center. I don't have my Jet helmet to smash against my head. So,
what do you got?
I don't know what I could do right now. I mean,
chug water.
I could chug water. It would be better, I guess, if it was like alcohol or something like that. I don't know. If anyone sees a helmet around here, let me know, and I'll smash it against my head. But Mutt Vows, on a serious note, thanks for supporting the community. Richie and I truly appreciate your support, and everyone out there who's supporting Jets content, because we know it's certainly not easy to be a Jet fan, and we do this for a living, so we always appreciate the support from the audience here. Comments, questions, super chats. Richie from Jets Media hanging out with us. We're going to check in with Nick Faria in about 15 minutes, so he will join us for his instant reaction to the trade. Let's just talk about some of the other storylines from this week now that you're here. What did you take away from Glenn saying that his superpower, Richie, is to call plays?
Play call is my superpower, really.
I think that it's an interesting way to put it, of course, that he is basically saying how confident he is. His play calling ability for Detroit, he got better and better as the years progress. And the thing about Aaron Glenn that I just respect so far in his interviews is he's not afraid to hold himself accountable of what he did wrong last year. And he admits, I should have been the play caller last year. That's a mistake that he made. He's not going to make that same mistake. He's going to be calling the plays. And Darren Muji even said in an interview with Eric Allen that he saw that fire unlock in Aaron Glenn at the end of the season when they let go of Steve Wilkes, that Aaron Glenn was getting his old play calling sheet. He was ready to get more hands-on. So I think this is exactly what the Jets team needed defensively. You're seeing around the NFL, we've talked about it, even on the Jets roundtable. Salah's calling plays on defense, something he did not do with the Jets. You see 25 coaches around the NFL that are head coaches are calling the plays, whether offensive or defensive. So I think that Aaron Glenn saying it's a superpower is his way of saying, this is what I love doing. It's a genuine thing I'm really excited to do, and I'll be more hands-on with his defense. And we'll see if there's going to be any impact or not.
Well, the concern is this will be memed into a oblivion if the Jets defense is terrible for another year. The headline from the New York Post is objectively hilarious, but we're going to get so much of this if the Jets are terrible, not just from people who regularly cover the Jets. The Jets will remain a national punchline if their defense sucks, with Glenn saying that his superpower is calling the defense, and people rightfully said, well, if that's the case, then why didn't you step in at any point last year and do something about it?
Yeah, and that's what it is. When you're a member of the New York Jets or the Giants or in the New York market and you say anything like this, it's going to be put on a giant light. And now he needs to understand that there's pressure with him being more hands-on with his defense. If we don't see any signs of improvement, well, there has to be improvement because you can't go backwards. Last year was so bad defensively. So with an influx of talent coming in, more players that fit the scheme that they're implementing, I think there's going to be an improvement. But how much of an improvement is going to be the big question.
Play call is my superpower, really.
Oh, man. Him not using it last year. That's like Superman saying, yeah, I could fly, but I don't really feel like it. I mean, we better see something big from Aaron Glenn. Hit the like button if you guys are tuned in right here. Our guy Richie from Jets Media in the house. The man had 7, 8, 9, I don't know how many flights canceled just to finally get here. And
ridiculous.
Now that he's here, are you a shrimp cocktail guy? Are you going to try and go to St. Elmo's and do the
yeah, I got to try that out. I don't know what that is.
Shrimp cocktail.
Where is that?
So St. Elmo's is right near the convention center, not far. And that's the steakhouse. There's so many, but that's the most famous one here in Indy. And they have a famous shrimp cocktail, which is very spicy. So I watched people try it and almost die, like Antoine Staley of the Daily News 2 years ago.
It's that spicy?
Oh, yeah. We got dinner a couple of years ago, and he's still feeling the effects.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I got to wait and see. I got to try that out. I love spicy foods, but I got to be down for that. But Indianapolis it's a cool, interesting city. I'm excited to go to the drills, the Lucas Oil Stadium later today. It's my first time here, and I'm excited to be here, man. But boy, it was tough to get here. You were able to avoid that blizzard, flew out just in time. I was not able to do that, man.
I got lucky. It took 5 hours of waiting on hold with Delta, hearing the Delta music they play on a loop that's ingrained in my brain forever. But thankfully, because I did that, they switched me on a flight, and I couldn't do it from the phone or the app because the website crashed.
What was your original flight?
My
Monday?
original flight was Monday, and then I was on a Sunday at 6:30. That ended up getting canceled. I was trying to move it up at all costs. I got on a flight that was supposed to leave at 2, ended up leaving closer to 4 because it was delayed, but it was one of the last flights out of JFK.
Oh, my gosh. Well, lucky you, man. I was moving into a new apartment on Sunday, so I couldn't even do that, but I was absolutely pissed off. I almost drove here for 12 hours.
Man. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Richie from Jets Media and, of course, Roundtable Sports is here. If you guys want to call in, now is certainly the time. We'll take some calls, and then we'll let Richie go out and about and experience his first ever NFL Combine. Let's say hello on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline to Miami Jet fan. What is his name? Just says Miami Jet fan. Hello, Miami Jet fan.
What's up? Long time viewer, first time caller. I watch both of you guys. I'm a big fan of Richie, big fan of you, Jake.
Thank you,
I'm
bro.
in Miami, so I always got to deal with the Dolphin fans. I appreciate you for putting me on, and hopefully I'll be calling into both of you guys' show more and, put my face out there so that way, some more Jets fans down here, I can find out about them, we can link up, and I can spread the word of what we potentially can be doing.
I love it. Well, I'm putting you in our raffle for 2. We do that for any first-time caller. So thanks for the support, Miami Jet fan. I hope you call in more.
No problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me on. I hope y'all keep on with y'all success, and I'll continue to watch and be a fan for sure.
You like the trade?
Appreciate it.
What do you think of the trade?
Yeah, I do like the trade. Same thing with you. I love JJ as a player, but I do understand the reason why they traded him. Needed that run stopper. I do feel like in the draft we'll get a better edge player than JJ. Eventually, hopefully they pan out to be, depending on whoever they go. But JJ was a good player for us. Unfortunately, the injury slowed him down. No telling what he could have been, but I like the younger player and getting a run stuffer for our defense.
Well said.
Breakdown.
Miami Jet fan. I'm sure that's your actual name, of course, but great call. Appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Enjoy the Combine.
Miami Jet fan, check it in. Appreciate that. Again, we'll never know what Jermaine could have been at full potential because the Achilles injury, I think, it affected him last year. He obviously was banged up with various other injuries too, and the Jets were just so poorly coached and were down in so many games. Like we never really got to see what this pass rush with him and Will McDonald could be together.
I know it's sad. The injury, whenever you tear your Achilles, it's always that next year to get your foot getting back and healthy in your mind, and it's not really your time to break out. It's this next upcoming year where you're expected to be baller, and Jermaine's entering the final year of his contract, a lot of money they have to pay him, and now he's reunited with Saleh, and I think he's going to be really good with Tennessee.
Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls, but first a super chat from Nick. He's been a channel member for 21 months. Let's go. Should the Jets try to get Tremaine Edmonds from the Bears? They're letting him look for a trade, and he's a good middle linebacker. I think a 5th gets it done. I don't know enough about that situation just to say blindly yes, but anyone who's good at linebacker who's available, the Jets obviously should consider.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets obviously are very aggressive on the trade market. We've seen them trade for Briggs and Phillips before the season, trade for Brownlee in the middle of the season, trade away Michael Carter II for Mechie, trading away Sauce and Quinnen. So Muji is very aggressive on the trade market, which I definitely feel like is something that I appreciate. He does not just look at free agency or the draft. Trades is something that he's very, very passionate about helping this Jets football team.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Carlos Da Barber is up next on our show. What's up, Los?
What's going on, fellas?
Los.
What's up, man?
Hear me good?
We hear you. Let it rip.
Listen, the trade, I don't know much about the numbers when it comes to DTs, but the man only has 3 career sacks on the D-line. Is that something that's normal? Is that not a good number, but is it more for the run stuffing?
Well, he's not hit his full potential as a pass rusher. Tennessee's also in a similar spot too, by the way. They've been awful. They've been down in games. They haven't been properly coached. Sweat is super talented. He grades out elite against the run, and there's untapped pass rush potential. And with Carl Dunbar as the D-line coach, I trust him to get the most out of what's there. And you're not asking him to sack the quarterback. You're asking him to be elite against the run, be a big mass in a 3-4. And then you go from there as far as other players that are going to be added to fit the scheme that are going to give you the pass rush, like Arvell Reese, like hopefully Will McDonald. And I think they're going to make some other moves too, whether that be in free agency or a trade.
One more thing, too. So I hear us, we want the bridge quarterback to get us some wins, and I keep saying that, we need to win the games. What happens if we end up with the bridge quarterback and we end up seeing, let's say we win 7 games and kind of play ourselves out of potentially drafting?
Los, it was tough to hear you, man. Your connection was a little choppy. I think his point was, what happens if they get a bridge quarterback and they play themselves into 7 wins and then they're not in a spot to maybe get the top quarterback?
Well, the good thing is the Jets got 3 firsts. So if they do get in that scenario, they have ammo to trade up. But again, and maybe the Colts, I don't want to say it too loud since we're in Indianapolis, but maybe they bought them out. You know what I mean? They can get the top pick for us. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting solution. You get Derek Carr, you win 7-8 games, then what? I mean, you're kind of just in the middle of the road there.
Well, I think if that happens, you feel a lot better about the coaching staff. Again, you don't always need to be picking at the very top to get your quarterback. Bo Nix was like the 5th quarterback taken. Lamar Jackson, the last pick of round 1. Like Patrick Mahomes was the 3rd quarterback taken his year, or the 2nd. I guess it was either him or Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
But again, like Trubisky went in front of them. So, like, to me, I'm not necessarily worried about that. I just want to see real improvement, and you could figure it out. And you nailed it. Like, worst case, yeah, if you got to use one of those first and some other picks to get your guy, well, you feel a lot better about your roster. If you won that many games in the first
Winning
place.
cures all.
And that's
they
it.
got to win, man.
Right.
Like,
show competency.
We can't. And if you look back, like, you can't look at this team and they win 2 or 3 games again and expect it to all be okay. If they win 7-8 games, that is showing an improvement. There has to be context, of course. How do they win the games? Who's playing well? Do they have a good quarterback? How's their defense look? A lot of context needs to be added to that hypothetical scenario. But if they do win 7-8 games, that should make you feel a little more confident that there is something to look forward to into the 2027 offseason with all the even more capital than what they have then.
Right. I think it's incredibly well said. NYJ writes in, keep Harrison Phillips to mentor Devondre Sweat.
Oh, yeah.
I could tell you, Harrison Phillips going nowhere. I mean, we basically, Richie and I kick from that from interviewing him at Super Bowl.
The guy is everything this Jets team needs. He is just like, wow. You talk to him, he is super intelligent, very well spoken, loves Aaron Glenn, genuinely. Like, I was even asking his wife, and she was saying, like, yeah, Aaron Glenn calls Harrison Phillips after every single game. They have a really deep relationship. It's more than just a coach and a player. Like, AG leans on Harrison Phillips. As a first-year head coach, he really leaned on Phillips a lot to help him as a coach maneuver himself into this. And now that he has 1 year underneath his belt being a head coach, and Harrison Phillips also has a full year of understanding what the cancerous culture is there, how can he help turn it around? Harrison Phillips is so important, man. And I think the Jets are going to be trying to target a little bit more versions of Harrison Phillips, veterans in free agency or in the trade market.
If you could have 52 other players on your roster with the same mentality and leadership traits of Harrison Phillips, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, man. And he's just an Iron Man, too. He's just like a pure football. He's a refrigerator. He's just like an absolute dog. And it's very rare they make people like him. And Garrett Wilson, I'll even say, is another guy that, like, if you can get 52 players wired like Garrett Wilson.
Well, especially with his skill set, because Harrison Phillips is a nice, plug and play, run stuffing defensive tackles, had a nice career. Garrett Wilson's a star.
Yeah, Garrett's a blend of being fantastic on the field and fantastic off the field, and it's rare that you have both of those qualities.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Couple minutes left here with our guy Richie from Jets Media. This super chat just came in from NYJ, 100% keep Harrison Phillips. We just read that. Here is the Doc Jet fan super chat. I meant to click. Why does it feel like we have already hit the bottom and are starting our ascent to respectability and relevance? Maybe I'm just a thirsty man in a 15-year Jets desert, but this feels arrow up to me. Well, let's be real. It's hard to be worse, right? They won 3 games. As bad as the Jets have been, it's only a couple times in their history they've only won 3 games or fewer, right? It's Gase. I
saw Adam Gase today.
Oh, you saw him?
Yeah, I saw him walking by me. I was like,
you say anything?
I was processing who that was, and then before
did you say we're going into hyperdrive?
I was like, I didn't get to say anything to him because I was like processing. Is that Adam Gase? He just walked
He's
by
back,
me.
baby.
He's back in the NFL. I should have said, welcome back to the NFL, Adam. Thanks for Sam Darnold.
He's back.
Ruining him.
The best was that tweet when he got hired. Adam Gase, known for working with quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Jay Cutler, and then they just threw in and Sam Darnold. I'm like, you do not get to take credit for Sam Darnold. You're the reason why Sam Darnold's not on the Jets, buddy. Good God. But anyway, look, Doc Jet fan, it's hard to be worse. Again, it's Gase, it's Coach Tight and Glenn, whoever lost 14 games or more in a season. So, like, automatically, I think they're going to win more than 3 games next year. It's hard to be that bad again. But I think we have a GM that I feel somewhat confident in, and they have the resources to turn it around. So it's hard to be worse than where the Jets have been.
Yeah, and the staff, like, I feel a lot better
Me too.
today than I did last year, especially with the offensive staff. Like Reich and Musgrave, obviously we have to wait and see, but Tanner Engstrand, first year OC compared to a Frank Reich who at least has some stability of experience. I just feel a little bit more confident in that in terms of the offense, and Glenn getting more hands on with the defense. So we shall see a lot of shifts on the personnel on the way as well. It's important.
Bino says Connor Hughes said everyone not drafted by this regime, excluding Brees, is available. Every player on every team is available for the right price. The Jets will listen. Are they shopping Garrett Wilson? No. Will they listen if teams call about Will McDonald? I'm sure they will. They listened when Salah, who had an obvious need on his defense, called about Jermaine. So this is not, to me, breaking news. This is not surprising. Every player has a price, and I don't think the Jets are having this big fire sale, but they're clearly going to make wholesale changes to their roster. They won 3 games.
They are literally looking at this team and realizing that this football team needs to be built with the guys that fit their mindset. And I think that's very much a priority for Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. And obviously Jermaine Johnson just was a guy that was coming off an Achilles 2 years ago. He needed to get extended. Like, people are forgetting that. If the Jets did not trade away Jermaine, they would have to pay him. If you did not pay him, then you would have had to let him walk in free agency next year for nothing. So instead, they're getting a player in return. They're doing it a year early.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Let me do one more call with Richie, and then we'll bring on our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it right here, because joining us now on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a man we call the Wagon.
Jet Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Jet Wagon's even cooking at the game. Jet Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Jet Wagon.
Hey, JK, Richie, I'll be quick because I'm at work, as you can tell. The Jermaine Johnson trade is fine. I wish him the best. Thank him for his service when he was here. This tells me that we're not getting downside too. This trade screams to me that we're going probably Reese or Bain with that number 2 pick. And also, I don't think now with the Jermaine trade, I don't think the Jets are going to probably trade back. I think they're going to now stick and pick at 2. What do you guys think?
I think they're going to have a tough time finding someone that wants to come up to 2. I think they'd be open to it, but I don't think it's likely. And I think this trade solidifies an edge, and I would be very surprised if it's not Arvell Reese.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you guys for the call. Jake, I'm glad you got there safe. You too, Richie. Richie, I never met you before. It's nice to finally meet you. Too bad I can't cook something for you.
I appreciate that, Joe. Great to meet you too, man.
Yes. I'm going to go before I get in trouble. But anyways, nice meeting you, Richie. Jake, thank you as always.
Likewise.
And I'll be seeing you around. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chuck Wagon. Yeah.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Maybe the nicest Asmaniac. We should have a nice Asmaniac Madness tournament. David T.
I like nice guys.
1 seed.
I'm a nice guy kind of guy.
Chuck Wagon, 1 seed. Who are the other 2 1 seeds, Chad? Help me out. Those
King
are just
Lowski?
King Lowski's very nice, but I don't know if he'd be a 1 because he's so like aggressive, like just yells. I don't know if people would consider that.
Mutviles is a nice guy if he gets getting put into these tournaments. If he starts showing up more in the Asmaniac folks.
Yeah, if he calls in, that'd be great. We got so many nice callers, man. So that'd be an interesting bracket. But I'll tell you what, Richie, I'm glad you made it.
Jake, thank
enjoy
you for
your
having
first
me on,
combine. We'll catch up later. Maybe we'll go to St. Elmo's and watch you try and down that shrimp cocktail.
I'm confident I'll be able to, baby. Bring it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richie from Jets Media, he put up a live reaction video on his channel, so go check that out as well. And make sure you guys tune in every week. We do the Jets Roundtable. Myself, Matt O'Leary, and Richie are killing it over there through Roundtable Sports. So definitely you're going to want to watch that and get all your Jets news. Enjoy the combine, man.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you having me on.
Quick break, and we'll be right back. Nick Faria joins us for his live reaction to the Jermaine Johnson deal.
Oh, I got gonorrhea. Oh, my God, I got gonorrhea.
Chicken doesn't go with pasta. Don't you know it's disgusting? Chicken can't go with pasta. Why? Because of the texture. Instead, go get yourself pizza.
to close the Shell gas station, cause chicken don't go with pasta. I just discovered dogs are pets.
What the hell you think you are? I am.
It's Santa Beast time from the global studio. It's not really an attic. You can't lace his boots or wipe his ass. Harry Beast best bitches. My name is Lumpy, not Lumpy. I'm not De Niro, just call me Lumpy. I had a mullet the last time the Jets were winners. Don't call me Lumpy, cause I'm friggin' Lumpy.
This whole team looks like it's shot to shit.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Slipper, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check this out. He's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn Truther, holding that rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
Honestly, can you guys hear me?
If James B's related to Mad Max, he's in his 30s and mellow, drinking decaf, likes bagels. I'm Jake Asman. If James B looks oddly familiar, he might be starring on Netflix as a serial killer. He hasn't been seen using Adderall.
Do we?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bass, and Jake. Get it started, Gator.
Bass and Jake. Bass and Jake. Bass and Jake. Bass and Jake.
Well, Super Jazz always caught the line.
And the boy dances really fine.
She's so sucking and about them jets.
My senorita, you know she gets real happy.
Real happy if that female butters are run.
Hey, Gator, it's a family show.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Bass and Jake. Bass and Jake. Bass and Jake. Bass and Jake.
Oh, that was a bad fart.
You'll never get my chicken soup recipe. I'm not saying that Lowski takes steroids. Please, I love it. Hey, child! Who is that lovely lady? Send it this way, child!
Nobody gives a shit.
I got my eye on you. Checkmate me, full screen bass, fireball, whiskey time, David motherfucking T.
Alert, alert, Alan alert. CJet fans are dumbass jerks. Alert, alert, Alan alert. Delusional dreams from pathetic fans. My Big Joe is a dog. Beast Breaker is fat and dumb as a rock. And Gator's a dick who blocked all my chats. We should have got all Josh Allen to start. This show needs me. Jake knows I'm right, and he's always wrong. Alert, alert, Alan alert. CJet fans are dumbass jerks. Alert, alert, Alan alert. You hate me 'cause I'm always right.
He's the king.
Mo, Larry, and Curly.
And your name is Shitty.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not gonna touch anything, I promise.
Furline, he stinks. Get him out of here. He's terrible.
The only thing better than Alden shoes is Joey D, 'cause he totally rules. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody. Damn, this show is crazy.
Ah, we're back. Nick Faria now with us here. The Jets X Factor's own, a man who took down a big fat steak at dinner last
God,
night.
that was amazing. That was a good steakhouse yesterday. That was great.
I know how to pick them.
You know how to pick them.
It's not my first rodeo.
You also know how to pick ones that like give us free stuff.
I do. Well, the restaurant We went to Dean's. It's brand new. It's inside the JW, which is one of the big hotels people around the NFL stay at. So we're at dinner, and I ordered a New York strip steak, and they brought out a ribeye instead, and they were really cool. They were like, oh, yeah, you just keep the ribeye. We're going to bring out the New York strip anyway. And I'm like, wow. I got the New York strip because it was a little smaller than the ribeye in the first place.
And mac and cheese.
And then they comped 2 extra sides as well. You don't even like sides, and you had to have some now.
Well, yeah. You look at the mac and cheese. There you go. But I had a great time. It was good Caesar salad, good steak. It was good food, good service, good everything.
And then we were being wined and dined next to Adam Schefter, Rich Eisen, and Ryan Poles.
Look, all I'll say is this. I think Adam Schefter has something against Aaron Wilson. That's all I'll say right now. That glare was incredible.
I'm telling you, the glare was because the dessert came out with the smoked
Oh, sure. Yeah, but it's not
candle thing.
It's not exciting enough for me. Yeah, sure, he was confused about that, but I like to think that he and Aaron have some kind of feud here.
So long story short, there is a New York strip steak from a high-end steakhouse in the fridge at the Airbnb I'm staying. And if I can find any time today, I will hustle from the Indiana Convention Center, hop on a scooter, get back to my Airbnb within 5 minutes for some lunch at some point.
Provided the Jets do not trade another key player.
I mean, I was joking with a bunch of people. Leave it to the Jets to always give us something. This is really the first big trade of the NFL offseason.
May not be the last one either. I mean, there are a lot of players that you could take a look at and say he could potentially be moved. Keep an eye on Brian Thomas, the receiver from Jacksonville. I think he's probably a sneaky guy that probably gets shipped off within the next couple of weeks. And, of course, the big ones, A.J. Brown, what happens there in Philadelphia, although I do think that he'll probably stay. But we'll see. I mean, there are a lot of names that are going to be moved. Jermaine Johnson is just the first tally in that mark.
What was your initial reaction? And now that you've had a little time to process it, what are your thoughts?
The initial reaction is pretty much shock. We don't see trades like this happen before the new league year. And this isn't official until the new league year. So it was pretty shocking in that end. But when you really break it down, kind of the specifics, it's a win-win for both sides. First off, the Tennessee Titans were absolutely anemic last year in terms of their defense. They desperately needed pass rushers. So they bring in Robert Saleh, and they bring in a player that Robert Saleh really, really liked in Jermaine Johnson. So by that metric, makes perfect sense for the Titans. Yes, there are concerns with injuries, but he's a pretty damn good player, very good person, good leader in the locker room as well. And for the Jets side, they want to get bigger. They need to get bigger and better. They have been one of the worst run defenses in the NFL over the last few years, and they bring in arguably the best run-stopping nose tackle in the National Football League. Devondre Sweat last year, Pro Football Focus rating of over 83, top 5 overall in interior defensive linemen. The metrics are off the charts with this guy. So I think this is a win-win for both teams. The Jets wanted to transition more into that 3-4 multiple style look, and they're going to be able to do so with Sweat on the roster. I think this is a very shrewd move by Darren Muji. It kind of takes away the need for defensive tackle going into the NFL draft and free agency. I'm sure they'll probably bring in an extra player as sort of a fourth or role-playing type of player. But this is a very smart move for Muji. Now, really, the focus is edge rusher. They have to get edge rushers. They have to go all in on edge rushers coming up in the draft and free agency. And I think all this does is really enforce the fact that it's going to be Arvell Reese with the second overall pick. The people that I've spoken to so far today, they think he's going to have a big combine workout today.
Arvell Reese at pick 2, and it's because I'm staying in the same Airbnb apartment complex as him. Which I had no idea. I rode the elevator with him this morning. He said, hey, good luck, man. And I saw like his number, LB, whatever it was. And I didn't know who it was off the top of my head. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, crap, that's Arvell Reese. If I get a chance to talk to him later, I will definitely be talking Jets. Now, did you write about my exclusive with Fernando Mendoza yesterday?
I did not yet. But, man, could you imagine if something were to happen and a trade actually comes to fruition?
I mean, what type of reporter are you? I'm the only one at the Combine that spoke to him.
Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, what are we doing here? Unbelievable. Robbie Sabo and his team are slacking clearly over at JetX. As far as Reese at 2, you think he's going to be the pick? How do they use him in year 1 if that is indeed what they do?
I think they use him in the exact same way we talked about before, but Micah Parsons. Greg Cosell, who's a draft expert who I have a lot of respect for. He's been doing this for a very long time, was talking about him and saying he is the main wow player in this draft. And I fully agree. You look at the tape, he can play everywhere along the defensive line. He can play everywhere along the linebacker position. And if he is saying to a team, I want to be an outside linebacker and edge rusher, you do everything in your power to move heaven and earth to put him all over the field to get the best out of him. So I do think there are some things he has to improve, but from a player perspective, from a talent perspective, he's going to walk in and be New York's best defensive player day one.
You know what? The thing that does give me some hope, Carl Dunbar being the D-line coach. So at least if you're taking someone who, I'm not saying he's not going to be good in year one. He's obviously a phenomenal player. He just doesn't have a defined role necessarily, but at least you have a proven coach who can coach up what he does well and obviously coach up where he needs to improve to take his game to the next level.
People need to remember that TJ Watt, when he was drafted by Pittsburgh, he was drafted in the 20s. He was not a top 20 pick. And people were saying, yeah, it's a solid pick. It's a good value. But they weren't talking about TJ Watt as the second coming of one of the greatest defensive linemen in NFL history. Watt has become a Hall of Famer. And part of that, I do believe, is because of Carl Dunbar, the work that he's done. And it's not just, obviously, with a potential player like Reese. Tavondre Sweat with Carl Dunbar is really an intriguing duo for this Jets defensive line. And we talked about it already. Harrison Phillips still on the roster. Jawan Briggs still on the roster. This should open up a lot of space for Jawan Briggs to have a career year. This is the kind of move that I think sort of reinvigorates what the Jets want to do along the defensive line.
Briggs, Phillips, Sweat, Will McDonald, Arvell Reese. Let's say you add someone else that's not Michael Clemens.
JFM.
JFM would be perfect. You have a pretty good front for Mr. Superpower to call the plays for.
Listen, it's a damn good defensive line. And also, we talk about upgrades. Did the Jets upgrade their coaching staff? Well, if they're able to bring in JFM, if they're able to draft Arvell Reese, I think it's a clear statement that we can make that they upgraded their defensive line in a big way. So it's not, the Jets need to win 8-9 games in order for this upcoming season to be a success. It's about incrementally getting better. It's about showing on tape that this team is getting better. And I think you do that from the trenches. You solidify your offensive line, that's pretty much good to go. Obviously a question at guard, but it's pretty much solidified. And then if you're able to upgrade the defensive line across the board like this, you can say the two most important spots on the team are filled and ready to go. Now let's find our quarterback.
Play call is my superpower, really.
We have a superpower.
Man, he can't help himself. He can't help himself. Like
Why? What could go wrong?
He had the right approach at the end of your press conference, far more humble. And even at different points in this press conference, I took him as more of a reflective, listen, we have to improve. It starts with me. We talk about accountability, Jake. I remember a couple of years ago, fans were angry about the lack of accountability. He's openly saying, I have to be better. I've learned from my mistakes. I made too many mistakes last season. I have to be better from. That's all good. That shows improvement. But then you come out and you give a soundbite like that. And could you envision a situation where the Jets are, 3-6 and they lose a game by giving up 35 points, and all of a sudden it's, Aaron Glenn's superpower is play calling. Maybe he doesn't have a superpower at all. Maybe he's just not good. It just opens yourself up to further criticism, further jokes going on in the future.
We're going to be joined by Jared Stillman coming up in about 10 minutes. Jared is a longtime radio host in Nashville, also is a national host that I work with on Mad Dog Sports Radio. He covers the Titans up close. I joined him after they hired Saleh, so I shot him a text and go, hey, can you pop on so we can get a breakdown of Tavondre's play?
Man. You got so many guests, it's incredible.
Well, you got to just be able to pivot on the fly when you talk about this Jets team. Because, I was planning on doing mostly just draft stuff today, draft talk. I have some interviews taped with some big names, and those kind of get pushed on the back burner when you got breaking news to react to.
It's the NFL landscape, man. It's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Patrick with a great question. He says, how big was Arvell Reese next to you in the elevator? He was bigger than me. He was bigger than my 5'8" ass. He's a big dude, and he's going to add a lot of weight, and he's only 20. So think about the strength and weight combo that he could add over the next couple of years.
And I still haven't seen the test results from him yet. I'm interested to see what happens. I know David Bailey's arms are really, really good. His measurables are off the charts.
Bailey?
Yeah.
So do you think it's Bailey still in play too, or it's going to be Reese for
I think
sure?
It's going to be Reese, but I think the discussion of 3 edge rushers is down to 2 because the measurements from Ruben Bain are alarming, to say the least.
Talk more about that. Why? What specifically is the issue with Bain? Go more in depth for people who aren't nerd draft guys.
So arm length is very important for edge rushers because if you are going up against a tackle, what you need is space. defensive linemen need space to operate a couple of their pass rushing moves. So you talk about arm length, and you guys see the video here. My arms aren't exactly long, but when you have long arms like this, you're able to run different moves, rip moves, swim moves, bull rushes, spin moves. It generates more space for you to operate. And when you have shorter arms, it gives you less space. Offensive tackles want to get inside your padding, right along your chest. And if they're able to do that in a short time frame, you're dead. There's nothing that you can do. So arm length is important in the NFL. It is not the be-all, end-all. It is not, because we have seen a lot of edge rushers test poorly in that way, below average metric, and still are able to have great careers. Brandon Graham's a great example. Aaron Donald is another great example, below 33 inches, and still able to have a Hall of Fame career. The problem with Ruben Bain is the conversation I had with people is, as long as he goes a little bit below average, we expect him to be below average, but if he's just hovering around that 31, 32, he'll be fine. He'll be a top 10 pick. He's below that. It's 30 and 7/8 inches of arm length. That is the third lowest at the combine testing for edge rushers since this test has started. So it is very alarming. He's also smaller than originally expected at Miami. And I think there is a legitimate chance that he falls outside the top 10 and outside the top 15 as well. I think there's a legitimate conversation to be had. If they take Arvell Reese at 2, I do think there's a path where Bain is available at 16.
So just like that, a guy who I had people on this very show yesterday say I would take him at 2. Now, because his arms are tiny, you think he actually could fall to pick 16?
Yeah, and the other thing with this, with when it comes to some scouts, is they are looking. The tape absolutely matters. I'm not trying to take away anything from the tape.
And his tape might have been the best of any of the
100%.
defensive ends.
Maybe David Bailey. I think Bailey was a little bit better.
I don't know. I watched Ruben Bain be the best player on the field in the national championship game.
Absolutely phenomenal. But there's a clear discrepancy between offensive tackles in college and offensive tackles in the pro game. And there are measurables that teams look at and say, this is a demarcation point for me. If you're at 31, 32 arms, we can operate with you. We can work with that. But if you're any lower, that is alarming. Those are serious concerns. Bain has to have an unbelievable workout period, and he's not working out at the combine this year. That's another wrinkle to this that I think gets added to the conversation. His tape is off the charts, but it's not just about the tape. There are plenty of college athletes that have unbelievable college careers. They stand out on tape, and they don't do well in the NFL for one reason or another. And when it comes to Bain, these measurements are going to be alarming. And from people that I've already talked to, it will cause him to drop.
I don't think he gets by Salah.
I mean, there's a chance that Bailey is there for Salah. And I think Bailey would be a Salah pick 100%.
I understand the measurable stuff matters, but Ruben Bain is so good when you watch him. He really is. I never watched one play where I was like, his arm length affected him here.
You could say that about Tyree Wilson, too. And Tyree Wilson went top.
Did he have short arms?
He had short arms. Not as short as Bain, but he went top. I think it was 7th to the Raiders, and I believe he's now out of the NFL.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Reminder, Wayne Corbett sign helmet is the giveaway. Make sure you enter the raffle. We're going to spin the wheel of champions. And when you enter the raffle, just know it's going to a good cause. It's going towards Nick Faria's dinner for the week. Yes, I'm a man of my word. I will pick up this man's tab for all the appearances he makes on our show throughout the year. So that's the raffle prize. And then on the weekly raffle, I'm going to move it to Saturday just because I'm flying out in the afternoon now because of all the flight cancellations and stuff. So just to make sure we give everyone a fair chance, I'm going to do a Saturday show this week and a Sunday bracket reveal show. So we will definitely do the weekly raffle on Saturday. So it gives you another couple shows to enter. Wilson signed football, Revis signed helmet, Joe Namath signed helmet are the prizes.
Yeah, so we just got the testing done for Arvell Reese. His arm length, 32.5. So significantly longer than Ruben Bain's. That's going to help him make that full-time transition over to edge rusher. And again, he mentioned it before. He wants to be an outside linebacker edge rusher. The Jets going to be moving to a 3-4 scheme. That's a far better fit for New York at 2 than Ruben Bain is.
Super chat from the Doc Jet fan. He writes in, I respectfully disagree with Nick. During this time of year, looking at measurements and not all 22 film is a fatal mistake. Watch the tape.
Look, I think it's a fair comment to make. Watch the tape because it means more than just the measurements. But when you are so far down, of course there are outliers. Aaron Donald was an outlier, but Aaron Donald's arms were about an inch, maybe 2 inches too low. too small. This is now we're talking 3-4 inches, and that is a difference between getting a sack and not being in position to make a play. So I do think there are legitimate concerns. I know Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah, they both were talking about it. Those are legitimate things that people need to keep an eye on, because if you cannot generate pass rush as an edge rusher and you are in potential to be a top 5 pick, you are going to be considered a bust because you're not going to be able to match up with those expectations.
Well, that's why I always thought Reese was going to be the pick at 2, because he's going to test out of the gazoo. He's already got the good arm length, and he's only 20, so they'll bet on the upside. And while Downs might be the better overall player, he's a safety, and I think they want to try and go for that superstar pass rusher.
Yeah, and the other thing, we talked about value, right? Would you rather have Micah Parsons or Kyle Hamilton? Those are the two kind of upsides to both Downs and Reese.
Yeah, but the devil's advocate to that is, would you rather have Kayvon Thibodeau or Kyle Hamilton? Like, sometimes you just got to pick the best player.
Yeah. Sometimes you do, and I'm not debating that. When it comes to what the Jets need, though, right now, after this Jermaine Johnson trade, it is full steam ahead at edge rusher, because they understand what Reese does really well is he defends the run just as well as he is as a pass rusher. And I think that is enticing to this team because they struggled so much last season finding defensive linemen that can get after the quarterback and then also stop the run. This is one of the worst defenses in the NFL a season ago. And I think even one of these two guys, you walk up, you run to the table, you give the card, and your defense is instantly improved from the following season.
Well, you just knew the second they do this deal, forget the Downs at 2 talk.
It's just not.
Maybe they could trade up if they love him. I'm not against that if he starts to slip a little bit, but at 2, they're taking one of the pass rushers.
And I don't think he slips past the Giants. And I don't think they want to get back into the top 5 with that, because that usually means they'll have to give up a first-round pick from 2027. I don't see that happening.
You ready for another big dinner tonight?
I'm good to go, man.
Oh, baby. Nick Faria with us here. Read his work. Do you have a story up on JetX already?
Yes. So we got the breaking news piece. We have another one coming up on some of the takeaways from the Sweat and Johnson trade. I'll tell you what, the Titan fans are liking it, but the majority of people that I've spoken to on the floor here, very complimentary of this move for the Jets. They think this is a great move for New York, frees up close to $13 million in cap space, the kind of move good general managers make. And that should be another feather in the cap for Darren Muji.
Nick, we will talk to you soon. Appreciate you hopping on. Quick break. We got another guest, Jared Stillman, is going to be joining us. He covers the Titans, excellent radio host in the Nashville area. He's my guest. We will take a quick break, and he will join us right after this.
So your wife has never worn a bikini at the beach or on vacation somewhere?
Hell no.
His belief that women should not wear bikinis, and even push for a no shirt, no shoes, no calls policy instituted on the show. Is this indecent for you?
That is vile. That is disgusting. Morbidly obese grown man who lives in an attic with his guinea pig. We're not smart like you.
As PBM continues his rehabilitation, it became clear that he was getting chewed out by his beautiful purple belt wife.
Literally have zero help to me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Sounds like some conflict going on in the PBM household.
Oh, PBM.
Who accused him of not washing the potatoes for dinner and being labeled as zero help.
I'm on the way home from the doctor. Can you wash the potatoes for dinner?
I didn't see it.
It's like a whole procedure. He's getting bowls down. Like, why do you need a bowl to wash the potatoes?
Purple belt wife, everybody.
Instead of Mrs. PBM, purple belt wife. That's the new
Purple
name
belt
right
wife.
there.
Purple belt wife, she's the dark knight. She has a lazy husband who forgets to clean potatoes. Maybe someday she'll get some help, but now she's just a purple belt wife. Purple belt wife, she might not be purple, but she can kick her husband's ass.
Purple belt wife is driving me home, being good.
Did you just say I'm being good?
Yeah. Fuck am I saying?
I'm in love with Mary Jane. I'm going to have a little fun. It's called Woo!
What happened with your date? I thought
I got effed over. She wanted something, and I wasn't falling for that.
Yes. Beast, not shockingly, did find himself embroiled in further controversy when he announced he weighs exactly 259 pounds, yet refused to get on the scale that Gator bought him to prove it.
Beast, we got to see you on the scale. I want to see how much you weigh.
How much do you think he weighs?
I think he's at least 290. And he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Even though he is a 16-year pro in cooking,
16-year pro in cooking.
has an IQ of 140,
That's why I got a good IQ of 140.
and carried a 3.2 GPA, it didn't make a lot of sense for him to turn down offers of $100, $300, and even $1,000 to step on the scale and prove his weight.
Beast?
319.5.
Explain
Yeah.
your weight.
You all have pissed me off so hard.
I am a straight 259.
This is where I'm drawing the line.
259.
259.
Because this is really getting nowhere.
Did you get your blood pressure and weight mixed up?
Maybe it's time for me to leave.
Beast, you got to move your mic that's not plugged in.
This is why I got common sense.
Are you excited for this show with Coach Cho? After debuting his first show with Shania to the Chosen Ones, Cho was flying high and even made it clear that his podcast doesn't go long term. He will always have a future in modeling clothes. I would recommend that you add a profile picture to the Instagram account here because I just went to your account and this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Big Cho later in the month was called a chump by Georgie in the chat, which turned out to be quite the controversy.
Big chump. He wouldn't say that October 18th or 19th to me.
Get his ass.
No, I'm in a bad mood now.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.
We're back inside the Indiana Convention Center here at the NFL Scouting Combine. Hit the like button. Breaking news live show. Jermaine Johnson traded to the Tennessee Titans for T'Vondre Sweat. Reminder, if you ever missed any of the show, we podcast every single show on Apple and Spotify. So just search Jake Asman Show wherever you get your audio podcast, and you can listen back to anything you might have missed. Joining us right now is a friend of mine in the business. He's a national host on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and locally in Tennessee, he's one of the biggest names in the radio and digital space. It's our guy, Jared Stillman, who joins us now for a breakdown on today's trade from a Titans angle. Plus, Jared, we got to learn all about T'Vondre Sweat, so appreciate you hopping on.
Nah, I'd love to be here, and I will say this. The trade of T'Vondre Sweat, not a shock. The trade for Jermaine Johnson, not totally a shock either. I guess they were in the need of an edge rusher. So they pick up an edge rusher and they give away someone that they really did not want.
So from a Jet standpoint with this deal, with Sweat, what type of player are the Jets getting? We just look at the raw stats, but it's always tough with that type of position to evaluate stats and value. You're watching him every game. What type of player is T'Vondre Sweat?
T'Vondre Sweat is a big, fat, lazy, run-stuffing defensive tackle. So if Aaron Glenn brings him in and says, hey, I want you to develop as a player. I want to play you on third down. I want to play you in the 2-minute drill. I want to play you in passing situations. He's going to be disappointed. If he says, hey, I want you to go be what DJ Reader was for us with Detroit, then I think you've got something there. The problem is the Titans completely overdrafted T'Vondre Sweat in 2024. They used the 38th pick on him. The Rams made a crazy deal to move up to 39 with Carolina for Braden Fisk. And so the Titans took a run-stuffing DT who had just gotten a DUI with the 38th pick, and they were having to justify this pick as, no, we think he can develop into a third down type player. We think he can develop into a pass rusher. We think he can basically be Jeffrey Simmons 2.0, which was crazy. And the problem with him being Jeffrey Simmons 2.0 is that he doesn't play like Jeffrey Simmons. That's not really his position. But also the biggest problem with T'Vondre Sweat is that he's lazy. And so over the 2 years, I think the Titans had seen enough to know that he was really fat, really lazy, wasn't going to fit into what Robert Saleh's scheme, that 4-3 style, would really want. And so if you're looking for a big, fat, run-stuffing DT, T'Vondre Sweat is your guy. If you want somebody who's going to go over and beyond, if you want to get him to make changes to himself, that's not going to happen. But if you just want somebody to clog up the run, he's your guy.
When you say he's fat, he's lazy, I'm already seeing the comments here from Jet fans who hear that, and they are shocked that is the breakdown here. Is this something like it was just such a messy situation at Tennessee? There weren't great leaders in the locker room to hold him accountable. Like, what is the cause of that? How much is that on the player? How much is that on the environment? And is he able to maybe mature now that he's been traded to go to a new team and potentially take advantage of this new opportunity?
So I want to make something that I know that you know incredibly clear. I am not like a local homer. Yeah, I grew up a huge Titan fan, and I root for the Titans, but like I call it like I see it. And so with T'Vondre Sweat, when they drafted him at 38, I thought to myself, wait a minute. They drafted a guy that a lot of people had on boards at like 63 with the 38th pick. Now, the general manager at the time, Rand Carthon, was incompetent. And so that didn't necessarily.
He's actually sitting right over there if you want me to go say hello.
I mean, he's already doing podcast interviews talking about me, so I don't think it would change anything. But he overdrafts Tavondre Sweat, and then all the stuff started to come out about teams saying, "Oh, we took him off our board. Like we weren't going to draft him." Then the lazy stuff came out. Then the fat stuff came out. And basically what happened was Tavondre Sweat showed up at Texas at like 250 pounds as an edge rusher. And then he just couldn't stop eating. And so he was about 380 his last year at Texas. He comes into the combine at 364. Now, his weight was a big topic of discussion for that first rookie year because the Titans overdrafted him and then felt the need to oversell him as, no, we've already told him we want him to lose weight. We already think he can get down to 340. We think he can get down to 330. He said the night he was drafted that if I can get down to 340, I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame. And the Titans, because of where they drafted him, had to justify using that pick, so they needed him to become something that he wasn't. And over the 2 years, there's not a single person inside of that building that has knocked the idea that Tavondre Sweat was as lazy as advertised when he was drafted out of Texas. If they had drafted Tavondre Sweat in the 5th round or the 4th round, it would have been good value for a run-stuffing DD. But because they used the 38th pick in the draft, where you're supposed to get guys like A.J. Brown, I mean, that's where I think it kind of got out of hand. Robert Saleh doesn't play the style of defense that needs a big run-stuffing DT. So I think that the scheme fit was a question, but it had become pretty apparent, as with Jarvis Brownlee, that Mike Borgonzi, the new general manager last year, did not think much of Tavondre Sweat. And the Titans were really looking to get rid of him around the trade deadline. They ended up holding on to him. But I think the attitude, I think the laziness, I think this is just who he is. And so, again, if you're saying, hey, he's going to be fat, he's going to be lazy, he's under contract for 2 more years, go on 1st down and 10 when they run the ball, go stop him for a gain of 1. That's your guy. You know, hey, goal line situation, maybe he can get a little push in there. Great. But if you think that it's going to be anything more than that, he's just never going to be that.
Well, it's interesting because you say all that, and then I'm just looking at like some stats on him, seeing the PFF grade where he was apparently the 5th best interior defensive lineman out of 134 qualified players because of how good he is against the run. That was a huge problem for the Jets. So at the bare minimum, would you say the PFF grade matches up with what you've seen, that if they just say, hey, man, go be big in the middle, stop the run, we're switching to a 3-4, which is why they needed him in the first place, that makes some sense?
No, I think this is a good trade for both sides, right? So Jermaine Johnson, to me, the Titans need 2 edge rushers in free agency, and I think they need another one in the draft. Now, they're going to end up using a draft pick on one, and they're probably not going to go sign another one. I think they need to sign 2. But they needed a first-tier edge rusher, so think of Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, that kind of guy, maybe a Dafe Owe as a first-tier pass rusher. And then I thought they needed a second-tier pass rusher, which would have been a 1-year prove-it type deal for a Kwity Paye who played under Gus Bradley in Indianapolis, or a Kayvon Chason who had a good season last year with the Patriots. To me, that's what Jermaine Johnson is. It's a 1-year, $13 million contract. It really nets out to about 11.8 when you factor in Sweat's money. So that's fine. And from what I've heard, you would know better than I would, Jake, but from what I've heard, you know, that Jermaine Johnson was a big part of that 2023 defense, and that Jermaine Johnson's a very hard worker, and that Saleh loves him. And so that's great. Tavondre Sweat, if you're just saying, I need a run-stuffing DT and I don't want to pay DJ Reader $11 million to do it, Tavondre Sweat's your guy. If you're thinking he's going to become Vince Wilfork, that's never going to happen. And he's got the talent to be a Vince Wilfork. He's got the talent to be a great player. It's just not going to happen. And that's okay. So to your point, if the Jets are like, hey, we're going to draft Arvell Reese at number 2 overall, and we think we'll be able to get after the passer, but we have got to stop the run, and we need somebody to eat up those interior guys so that our linebackers can make plays, then this is your guy. If you're looking for that true nose tackle, again, DJ Reader, if you're looking for that, this is your guy.
I think that was part of it. He's got 2 more years of control. I think with Jermaine coming off the Achilles and just how bad the Jets' defensive coaching was a year ago, it was tough. It's a little bittersweet because he was an ascending player after 23, but you guys are now getting him second year removed from the Achilles, and I don't think the Jets were going to pay him. Obviously, they're sitting there at number 2 where they're going to likely take an edge. I think it is going to be Arvell Reese, Jared. So I see the trade from both sides. I think the big thing that the Jets are counting on, though, they definitely need him to be elite against the run, but I think it's also being sold as, hey, the Jets hired Carl Dunbar, who is an elite defensive line coach. He used to be with the Jets years ago. He was with the Steelers the last 8 years. They're switching to a 3-4. He's the guy that can unlock more of what we haven't seen yet from Sweat. I think that's the Jet standpoint and viewpoint on this. I'm curious, just your thoughts on the Titans' defensive coaching the last 2 years for Sweat. Has that played a part in his development or lack thereof in certain areas?
I'll give you an example of why I think that Vince Lombardi could be the coach, and I don't think he would get the best out of T'Vondre Sweat. You know, last year, Jeffrey Simmons said at the end of the year he had talked to T'Vondre Sweat about coming to Dallas with him in training. And Sweat was on board. Sweat was going to go out to Dallas, and he was going to train hard with Simmons. And Simmons last year really recommitted himself and lost something around 20 pounds or so and really took his game to the next level, where Jeffrey Simmons was one of the best players in the league. And I see people in the chat saying, you know, this guy's salty and this guy's Jeffrey Simmons absolutely hates me. So I want everybody to know that I will call it how it is. And Simmons recommitted himself, and Simmons played great last season. And it came out that T'Vondre Sweat never actually went to Dallas to go work out with Jeffrey Simmons. And everybody said when they drafted T'Vondre Sweat, oh no, Simmons will take him under his wing. And Simmons tried, but ultimately T'Vondre Sweat wants to go out and party. T'Vondre Sweat wants to hit the hamburger shop. T'Vondre Sweat wants to be T'Vondre Sweat. And so they could have anybody be their defensive line coach. I don't think it matters. And I think that with Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan as the general manager and coach, those were guys that really gave everybody the benefit of the doubt all the time. So with L'Jarius Sneed's knees, for instance, which the entire league said we're not touching, they were like, no, it will be fine. It will be fine. And they did that with everybody. Do you remember the week 2 game in 2024 when the Jets played the Titans and the right tackle for the Titans gave up like an NFL career high pressures, and it was something like 30 pressures in one game from the right tackle? And I want to say like Will McDonald had like 2 sacks, and, you know, just, I don't want to say average players, but average players were just going off against the Titans right tackle. That was the mentality of the team, which was, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. And that's why everybody who had that mentality has since been fired. Now, I don't know if Robert Saleh is a good coach or not. I lean towards he's probably not, but we'll see. But again, on the T'Vondre Sweat front, he is what he is. He's going to play about 20 snaps a game. He's not going to play on third down. He's not going to play in the 2-minute drill. He's not going to sack the quarterback. And if you're okay with that, then I think it's great.
Interesting breakdown. Hey, you're watching him every game, so it's a unique perspective, because the feedback we have gotten is, oh, he's exactly what they need for the scheme. He's really good against the run, all that. So, Jared, I appreciate you joining, man. Great perspective on everything.
Absolutely, Jake. Thank you so much. And as I said, I'm not a homer, so if you want if you guys want to see if you guys want to just live through the daily experience of Robert Saleh, go hit like and subscribe on my page, Stillman and Company. Thanks, Jake.
We'll be watching, man. Jared Stillman. Check him out on Bad Dog Radio. Also does local radio and, of course, local digital content in Nashville. Check out his YouTube channel for all that. We're going to take a quick break. We got a great guest about to join us. The great Dane Brugler from The Athletic is going to be sitting down with us, and we're going to break down the Jets and now what happens at 2, given the fact Jermaine Johnson was just traded. How does that impact things? We get to all that and much more right after these short words.
He thinks that Charles and Bobby need to get a job. This cowboy hates to see us maniacs complain. What he call him, one punch breaker. You need to get a job. What he call him, one punch breaker. The beast is on his ass. He call him one punch breaker. Has anyone seen Bean Mac? He call him one punch breaker. He will only need one.
Fuck you, Dave Brugger.
bringing the cheese.
Well, there's a feller they call Charleston Jets rude, 'cause he calls the show nude, never wears a shirt. And some folks, they don't think he's got pants on either. It's a gosh darn nudist camp. Let's hear it for that Charleston Jets Rube and see if he has any Jets points today.
Oh, hi. How's everything? Yes?
He's home, his bell is on the bed. That's what feels good. On the road, his bell is on the bed. In a dirty hotel room. He calls the show, his bell is on the bed.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you gotta make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.
I am excited about our next guest. We are live inside the Indiana Convention Center, and the Athletics' Dane Brugler is sitting down with us to talk all things Jets and NFL draft. Dane, great time to get you on because the Jets making a big trade on their defensive line. Jermaine Johnson traded to the Titans. Tavondre Sweat is who they acquire. Your thoughts on what that now means with the Jets in there with that number 2 pick?
Well, yeah, I think that's there's more of a need for pass rusher than there was about an hour ago. And, going into the draft, we thought there's a good chance we see an edge rusher at number 2. Now it feels like the chances of that happening are exponentially higher. Now we'll see how free agency plays out. I'm sure they'll make some more moves. But even, Jermaine Johnson just didn't feel like the same guy. I don't know. The last, especially come back from the injury. And so not a big shock they made this move. Adding Sweat is interesting because this is talent-wise, man. He's huge. He can move. He can really make plays versus the run. Hopefully he's just this is a coaching staff that can keep him focused on his responsibilities, what he needs to do. Because if he stays, focused, he's got a chance to be a really good one in the league.
So we know Aaron Glenn's taking over the play calling. He's traditionally been more of a 3-4 type of coach.
Right.
Sitting there now at pick 2, it feels like the betting favorite, Arvell Reese, maybe his odds increase after this, but you know better than me. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, in my opinion, Arvell Reese is the best player in the draft. That's my opinion. That's been my opinion since September. Nothing's really changed. I just think you can do so much with him. He's a chameleon. You want him to play off the ball, he can do that. You want him to rush, he can do that. I know that whole positionless player might give some people some pause, and I understand that completely. But when you watch him at Ohio State and Matt Patricia's defense, what he was asked to do, it's not, if you're a box score scout, you're not going to love Arvell Reese. But when you watch the tape, you see him setting an edge, you see him spying, you see him doing exactly what he was asked to do at a very high level. And then when he got his opportunities to rush, when he got his opportunities to go make a play, he did it. And he's 6'4", 240 pounds. He's violent at the point of attack, so he can set an edge. Even though he looks like a linebacker, he plays like a defensive end. And so I think he'd be a great fit for what they want to be on defense.
Where would the Jets use him in year 1? I've heard people say, it's kind of like the Micah Parsons type of role early on with the Cowboys. Do you see any of the comparisons there? And specifically now, in let's say a 3-4, how would you project him going forward?
Yeah, and you don't want to make an apples to apples comparison necessarily. Micah's top 3 defender in the league. And so you don't want to put that on him. But stylistically, yeah, I think that's the style of player you're looking at here. In terms of impact, you line him up on the edge where he can play off the ball, he can play more as an edge rusher, but you don't pigeonhole him as that. You can move him around. You can have him coming from different angles. I mean, really, his effectiveness is only limited by your lack of creativity. And I think that it's 10 years ago, we probably would have looked at him, not we, but a lot of guys in the league would have looked at him as, I don't know, is he really a fit for what we want to do? And I think now there's a lot more open-minded coaches that are saying, all right, let's tweak. Instead of asking him to change what he's doing, let's tweak our scheme a little bit to make sure we're getting his strengths and putting them on full display. And so I think if you do that, the investment is worth it because of the impact he can have.
Could you see a team saying, hey, add another 10, 15 pounds, and we're just going to predominantly play you only at edge?
Sure. I think you have to, that'll be part of this process. The scouting process before the draft is just to understand, okay, does he have that room on his frame to easily add 10 pounds? I think that even though, again, he looks like a linebacker, there are plenty of snaps on film that you can point to where he has got his hand on the ground and, whether he's setting an edge, using that length, or just being disruptive off the edge, screaming around the corner. He does a lot of edge stuff. And so, but I also don't think like I said, I don't think you want to pigeonhole him as only an edge player. I think you want to be creative with him because he can be so dynamic. And that's what makes Micah Parsons such a dangerous player, is because of all the ways you can deploy him. Line him up over the A gap, play him off the ball where he's dropping. You don't know, how that's working out. So I think that is the best way to really get the most bang for your buck with him.
Let's say it's not Reese at 2. Who's the other top contender now with that spot?
I guess David Bailey. I think that makes sense. Especially if they're going edge rusher, I think David Bailey would be the next one. Just lightning off the edge. He's not the best run defender, but I tell you what, you go back and watch his 2024 film at Stanford, then you watch his 2025 film at Texas Tech, you see a big jump. So he's clearly working at it. He's clearly making strides as a run defender, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that upward trajectory. But I think in most drafts, we're not talking about David Bailey as a number 2 pick. This is a little bit of a different draft, and I think people we got to accept that.
We got the testing results from Ruben Bain. How does that now impact his draft stock?
Well, we don't have testing, right? We just have measurements. Yeah. And I reported his measurements a couple months ago. So I think I prepared people for this. I think, he was going to have under 31 inch arms. He's just, the reason some teams have him on the board as more of a 3 technique is because of his body type. It's not what you usually think of in a defensive end, especially a defensive end you potentially take in the top 10. Now, it doesn't mean you just don't draft him, but you have to be a little bit open-minded about how different he is. But, you throw on that tape from the college football playoffs and you see him wrecking shop, and it's like, all right, yeah, we could use that power. We could use a guy that understands how to use that leverage, how to attack the striking points, and then how to finish, because he can get to the back. And it's not just as a pass rusher. He is a really good finisher in the run game, and that's something that, 30 teams could use.
Where could he potentially fall now to? I mean, could he actually be there, like 16 with the Jets' extra first-round pick?
I'd be surprised. I think that there's just not definitively 15 better players in this draft. Right. Even though I have my concerns with Bain, and I still am hard pressed to believe he'd get past the Chiefs at 9, the Bengals at 10. I think one of those 2 spots make the most sense for him.
All right, Jets in there at pick 16. Mm-hmm. What's an ideal scenario based on how you could potentially see the first 15 picks going in front of them?
I think if they get really lucky and, a Caleb Downs were to fall or something like that, but just because there's so many teams that are not going to draft a safety in the top 10, top 12. But that's probably, I just think the chances are too low. They're just, Caleb Downs is too good. Somebody's going to pull the trigger and take him. It's probably one of these receivers, right? Now, I don't think it's going to be Carnell Tate. I think he's going to go somewhere in the top 10. But Mekhi Lemon, I think there's a good chance he could be there. And there's plenty of debate about, is he a slot-only player? Because he's not the biggest. He's not going to test amazing here. He'll be fine. He'll test just fine. But he won't. It's not like he's going to run a 4.3 and, really blow people away. But then you watch the tape and you're like, okay, yeah, we understand. It feels like a very small needle to thread in terms of, I think he's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. But okay, if say Amon-Ra St. Brown never existed, who are we comparing him to?
I've heard people say JSN, but are they different type of players?
Yeah, I'm not sure I see that. I think they're different players. Yeah, I think JSN's a little more versatile in what he can do. I get why people make that comparisons, because we're talking about JSN, not the biggest, not the fastest. He wins with route running. He wins with toughness through the catch point, just being a reliable player. So I get it from that respect. I just think JSN's a better player, and nothing against Mekhi Lemon, because I think he's really good as well. But you can throw on plenty of tapes, Notre Dame tape, where he just wasn't able to get open, or he wasn't able to make that impact. So he's a really good player. It's just he will have some limitations at the next level.
Ty Simpson, let's say he's there at 16, which could happen. If you're the Jets, would you pull the trigger?
Me personally, no, I would not. I like Ty Simpson a lot. I think that there's a lot he has not seen yet. 1-year starter, 15 starts. The last 15 years, the quarterbacks with fewer than 15 starts or fewer, it's Mitchell Trubisky, it's Dwayne Haskins, it's Anthony Richardson, and it's not really a mystery why those guys struggled. Not having that experience, there's no substitute for it. You just can't create that. So for Ty Simpson, I think he is a little more unique because he is he received a quarterback education growing up. His dad being a 20-year head coach at the FCS level, that's really a unique part of his backstory. But the way the season ended, and September looked great, October looked great, then November was tough, and it's not all his fault. Alabama fell apart offensively, but you could tell there were parts where it felt like he was swimming a little bit, and that just comes from experience. And there's no substitute for that. So the only way to get better is to get those live reps. And so,
but then everyone says he needs to sit and learn. So how does that happen?
That's the thing, and that's why I wish he would have, just my opinion, I wish he would have taken that $6.5 million and gone to Miami for a year. Or Cole Payton from North Dakota State's another guy like that in this class who has a ton of talent. And on one hand, I want to give him credit for staying put at North Dakota State. One of the reasons he went there is because when he committed, Trey Lance was leaving. And so he's thinking he's going to get this playing time, but Cam Miller was in the mix, and Cam Miller was drafted last year. So now Cole Payton got his chance. He played really well, but 13 starts at the FCS level. There's just, he needs more reps, but I don't know how you could possibly put him out there right now. And so that's the catch-22. That's really tough about those two guys' situations.
Could Simpson fall out of round 1 in your opinion, Dane?
Sure. I think it gets really interesting when you talk about Pittsburgh and then the Rams with that second first-round pick. I think that would be an interesting fit that you cannot rule out. But I would say it's closer to a coin flip than I think people want to admit. There's just how many realistic landing spots are there for Ty Simpson in the first round? We're probably talking 3 or 4 spots, maybe, and that's just what we speculate based off of need and where we could see these teams going. So I wouldn't be surprised if he fell to the early second.
A couple quick hitters for you. So let's say he's there after night 1. Jets had pick 33 in round 2.
Yeah.
Is that an appropriate spot to take him? How would you feel if they did that?
Yeah, it's a lot more digestible at that point, I think. You feel like you're getting 2 really good players in the first round, and then you come back with a quarterback where that might be the place where it's like, yeah, let's make that dart throw. Maybe he does surprise us, and because again, that unique experience that he brings, maybe he is ready to step in, compete for the starting job, win the starting job, and then it's not going to look perfect. But I think the biggest thing they need to identify is competitive toughness. Does he have the mentality? Is he wired the right way where when things go south, because they will,
especially in New York,
it's just part of the animal. Does he have the wiring where he's going to be able to bounce back the next play and not miss a beat? I give, Jalen Hurts is not a perfect quarterback, but where I give him a lot of credit was how bad things looked at times. He was so mentally tough that he just comes back the next play, the next guy. And so you're able to make mistakes, learn from them, come back. And if you think Ty Simpson can do that, then I think you feel a lot better about drafting him at that point.
Is there any other quarterback that you think makes sense with that pick 33 or even pick 44 in the second round? Jets right now don't have a 3rd round pick. They do have a 4th. And it just feels very weird that here we are, you're coming off a 3-1 season, same record as Vegas, but strength of schedule percentage points is why you're picking 2 and not 1. And Mendoza might be the only clear and obvious QB that goes for a while.
Yeah, and I think we're only going to see maybe 3 quarterbacks, maybe a 4th gets in there in the top 100 picks. It's very light at the position. I think if they can, maybe move back from that 33 spot, pick up another 3rd, get back in that 3rd round. I don't think trades are going to be easy just because not a lot of teams are interested in moving around. But having that first pick in the second round, it's such a power position. When teams, they go home, they think about it, they're looking at their board, they say, "Oh man, I really want that guy," and so this phones start ringing that next morning. So I think that they might have opportunities to move back if they stay put. This is a corner class that I think drops off after day 2. Into day 3, I don't love the depth, and so if they want to come away with a corner from this class, getting 1 second round would make sense. With Ceesays, he fall to that point. Colton Hood fall to 33. I really like Chris Johnson, the San Diego State corner. D'Angelo Pons is one of my favorite players in the draft.
He's like a mini Aaron Glenn, basically.
Yeah,
same style,
right?
player.
You got to be okay with the size. He's not getting bigger, but show me, besides that, tell me what else you worry about, because that's it. He's an absolute competitor. Speed, he's a 100-meter, 200-meter champion in high school. The ball skills are there. The way he's wired mentally is there. The moment he showed up at James Madison, he was a starter, freshman All-American. Goes to Indiana, same exact thing. So I would go to bat for D'Angelo Ponds, especially there in the second round.
Last one for you. We're already talking about the class of quarterbacks for 2027. The Jets have the 3 first-rounders, so they're kind of in a spot where the head coach needs to win more games just to be here to earn the right to take a swing in a much better QB class. Your thoughts a year out, basically, on what we're looking at with that class? Because I remember a year ago, everyone's saying, oh, wait, this year it's going to be so much better. And here we are with Mendoza, probably the only one going in round 1 potentially. So give us something to really grab onto with this class a year from now.
Next year's class is always going to be better, but it should be true this year. And part of that is this class is so light. And also another part is next year, you look at Arch Manning, obviously that'll be the big name. But then, Dante Moore, going back, he should take a step and be even better poised for the draft next year. And then, we weren't talking about Jaden Daniels a year before. We weren't talking about Cam Ward as #1 overall pick a year before. Mendoza, I thought, was a first-round pick over the summer. I didn't see him as a #1 overall pick. So, I'm sure we'll have a few more guys, whether it's Lenora Sellers or, CJ Carr, the Notre Dame quarterback. Can he get there? The next year is – you can't bank on it, but it looks a lot more – you can be a lot more optimistic about the talent that should be a next year's quarterback class.
Dane, where can people find your excellent draft content?
It's all in The Athletic. Beast comes out first week of April, and so if you're interested in the draft at all, I promise you will not be disappointed having that thing by your side.
When you reveal the Beast, is there going to be another event in New York City at a pizza place? Wasn't that last year that happened?
Yeah, I mean, they had a car, like an old muscle car. They were giving out copies at a pizza place. Yeah, they're doing a bunch of stuff. I have not been. I need to talk to the marketing people and figure out what they've got cooked up. But I'm excited because every time I talk to them, they just want to keep taking it higher and higher, and that's music to my ears.
The preeminent draft analyst, Dane Brugler from The Athletic, with us here. Dane, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
He's Dane. I'm Jake. Quick break. We'll continue live from Radio Row here in Indianapolis. Do you guys remember there was an incident in Las Vegas where a man attacked a Clark County judge? After this happened, I said, the guy in the video is actually a listener of the show. So not the guy who basically like Troy Polamalu'd over like the judge dais, but the guy that is a listener of the show is the hero who tried to immediately apprehend this wacko. And yesterday, Michael Lasso, the law clerk who helped protect the Clark County judge who was attacked in court last month, was named Citizen of the Month in Vegas. You could see our guy Michael Lasso on the left there. So pretty cool moment for Michael, who joins us right now. What's up, Michael?
How you doing, Jake? Good to see you.
Man, what's it like being a hero?
Oh my God, you know what I mean? It's so, honestly, it's just so surreal and so humbling, truly. I never expected it to be, on SNL and TikTok and Twitter. And
while I fly this way, right? Mm-hmm. The bailiff, he run behind me, he fall down. Look at it, man. That's terrible. Man,
it's really just incredible, to be honest. And that leap that man did was pretty impressive. And I think that's part of the reason why that video has gone so crazy.
I mean, the guy, like, he timed the snap perfectly, right? Like, he did the full Troy Polamalu over the, I mean, what goes through your mind in real time as that's happening? Like, you even have time to think? Was it all just natural reaction? Kind of take us through what's happening there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's no time to think, for sure. I mean, the video doesn't even do it justice, just that how fast that actually occurred. I mean, 1 minute he's sitting there just talking about how, he'll accept whatever the judge is willing to give him. And then the next minute he's on top of the judge. So when he initially made a run, I thought, okay, he's going for the door. Last thing I thought he was going for the judge, and I definitely didn't think he was ever going to make contact. It was so nice to the mayor. It was so nice to the city. It was such an incredible experience. I mean, when the mayor first called me, I answered the phone, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this? The mayor? Do you have the right number?
The video honestly doesn't even do it justice as to just how fast it really was. I mean, it went from just any normal day to just, honestly, just straight, havoc. I mean, it was in a blink of an eye, and there really wasn't much time to think. You just kind of react.
I mean, I remember when it happened, and like the video was everywhere, and then you told me that was you, and I was like, what? No way. And I just I couldn't believe it, man.
I know. You know, I wish I could have came on your show earlier, but obviously the sentencing was still going on. There were things in motion, so I just couldn't. But I really appreciate you giving me a chance and coming on here.
It's not every day that, you know, a listener to the show is like a legitimate hero. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, what ended up happening? Was he sentenced? Where's the guy who, you know, attacked you?
So basically, yeah, he was given the sentence he was going to get originally. He's got new charges that he's facing, and that's going on in a different courtroom with a different judge. And, you know, we'll kind of see where that goes.
Can you believe that when they brought me back to court, they put a muzzle on me, man?
Yeah, probably for everybody's safety.
Man, I ain't bite nobody.
That's unbelievable, man. I love it. A Jet fan is a hero out in Las Vegas.
And those clips of Judge Allen, oh my God, those had me dead. Oh my God, those are the best things I've ever seen. I don't know. I think Gatorade, those are incredible.
I believe you mean this right here.
I'd rather be the Jake Asman heel than the Robert Saleh truther any day of the week. But it's weird because I don't see myself as a heel. I think I'm a realist.
I don't want to have none of that shit. You do not root for no damn New England to win shit.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's too good. It's too good. Oh my God. Thank you again, Jake.
Michael, you're the man. Appreciate you joining the show, brother. We have the best audience. I've always said it. That's as good as it gets right there.
Here we go, buddy.
Let's go, baby. Good luck to the Irish, baby. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Jet fans.
Joe Douglas knows what he's doing.
You know what? I should probably mix in a water sip, too, so I got you.
We won too many games. We're not going to get Joe off.
I'm wearing the chain, baby. Last time this was worn, it was you. Oh, you got a TOJ glass there?
Oh, yeah.
So let's go! Hey, let's go. Salute, Neil. I love it.
Let's go, bro.
All right, I'll have a sip of water. Just kidding. Psych. Let's go, lady. Cheers.
I don't know what the hell y'all doing. Oh, Tyron Smith gonna be mauling all you motherfuckers in the division next year. Oh!
It just feels weird, you being on the other end of this video call. So I actually talking to the real Gator. I was fortunate because I got a chance to basically do radio every, single week, doing a 1-hour talk show and call some games for the high school station for football, baseball, basketball, etc. That was definitely huge in my discovering and reiterating, so to speak, my passion. I was a very charismatic kid. And then how do you take what you do off there on the air where you're comfortable no matter the circumstance? I think that just happens over time with reps.
This is an ICTV special report.
Between that and then get reps, get on air in a bunch of different roles, that was the most beneficial aspect of IC. I was sending out my demo tape that I made in college to everyone. And
Jake Asman here with New York Knicks All-Star Carmelo Anthony.
Well, there was definitely some pot smoking. I don't think weed was legal yet. I think it's the coolest thing ever to see events where listeners are hanging out with one another and they met through the show. That is such a rewarding feeling to feel like you are part of a community built up where friendships are being born through the common bond of you tune in to watch Jake Asman talk about, our crappy football team. So I think that's pretty cool. Jake Asman was scheming early on, Gator, and that was a phenomenal time. Even though I wasn't a great athlete myself, I didn't have the makings of a varsity athlete, to quote Junior Soprano.
All I know is you never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Apparently, the Asmaniacs would like to know if Jake has a relationship, of some sort, or you prefer to keep that super private.
Podcaster Origin Story.
Excuse me, miss. I need to return this damn child. He's no good. Sometimes a child just is no good. Take this one back.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
Oh, yeah, we're back. Trust me, have faith. The Jet off season is officially underway. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you to the Athletics' Dane Brugler for joining me. We've had Richie Stickers, Richie from Jets Media on. We've had Nick Faria on during this live show. Jared Stillman from Nashville to get the breakdown on Tavondre Sweat. And then Dane Brugler from The Athletic. These have been the live guests. I have done so many interviews this week. Rich Eisen, Mike Florio, Jordan Reed, Zach Rosenblatt, Dan Graziano, Connor Rogers. That is yet to be released. I'm saving that for tomorrow afternoon with CR. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. Of course, we're going to be joined by some other big-name guests yet to be announced as well. Ladies and gentlemen, get your calls in right now before we wrap up the show. We will do the raffle at the end of today's breaking news live stream. That's right. a signed Wayne Corbett helmet is up for grabs. Let me shout out TH3 Entertainment for dropping a 10 spot for the Asmaniac community.
The field goal team. Last year we had 3 blocks. This year, we had no blocks.
TH3, you're in the raffle for 10. Let's go. Thank you for supporting the show and tonight's steak dinner as well. Here are the following people who got the membership during the commercial break. I was able to pull it up here. Midnight Mike, Aaron Daniels, 864, Jay Cruz, NY Jets DH, Yo Levis, Coobs Coffee Talk, Hulk Smash, My Mom. That is a government name, clearly. Brian DiMage, all receiving a gifted membership. We're 3 likes away from 500. Hit the thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. We're at 44,088. Can we get 12 more to get to 44,100 on the show? Can we do it? Let's hope. Let's hope. Hit that like button. Some super chats here. 71 Cooper says Stillman just wanted to pour cold water on us. Look, Stillman is not a homer, man. He's honest. All right. You guys think I'm negative. I mean, he's I don't even know if he's negative. I mean, he has a unique perspective. I don't know what it's like to cover the Titans the last couple of years. They've been dog shit. Excuse my language. You know, and they hired a head coach who's at best mediocre. Like I can't sit here and tell you Sal is a great coach. At this point, he could be better. We'll see if he learned. So he didn't just dunk on the trade from like a Jet perspective. He told you what he thought of the Titans as well. So whether you agree with him or not, that's up to you. I'll tell you this. I think he's going to help the Jets stop the run. I'll tell you this. I already saw Joe Blewett tweet out some clips of the guy. I like what I've seen on tape so far. I've only watched one play, but we'll have Blewett on this week, and we'll get his perspective. And again, I think with Dunbar being the coach, I think coaching matters, right? Will McDonald went from an ascending elite pass rusher to a guy who did nothing this year. Why? Because you gave him Steve Wilkes and the worst defensive coaching staff. It matters. So I like the fact that we have Carl Dunbar. I think he could get the most out of what we have at D-line. Now, here's the play that Blewett posted. Watch 93 up the middle. I don't know. This looks like it could help the Jet defense to me. Split the guard center there, and then boom. That burst. You know? Again, it's one play. We'll do a film review when I get back from the NFL Scouting Combine. We're live inside the convention center. Starting to die down today. People are headed over to the workouts, of course, later today. A lot of NFL teams only come for their coach and GM to speak. They send their media team, and then they pack things up. But we're here till the end of tomorrow, bringing you live content, things happening behind me over there. The great Field Yates. We've never seen a more handsome man at Radio Row right in front of me. So there's magic in the air, folks. You won't find this anywhere else. Believe me. And leave it to the Jets to give us the first big trade of the NFL offseason, which they certainly have done here with this Sweat and Jermaine Johnson deal. Super chats. Everardo says, smash the like button. Let's get to 500. That's right. Can we get there? I think we can. We're over 500 now. Can we get more subscribers? 600 of you are watching. Again, the raffle will be Saturday for the weekly prizes. Namath helmet, Revis helmet, Garrett Wilson signed football. Thank you all for being locked into the show this week. I could not do this without you. This is our 3rd event that we have traveled to this offseason. Senior Bowl, Super Bowl Radio Row, NFL Scouting Combine. We're the only Jet show that has been at all 3, and you guys make it possible, so I'm grateful to each and every one of you. Cheeseman with a super chat. Jake, what would your thoughts be on reset 2 and trading up into the top 10/early teens to grab Caleb Downs, assuming the Jets pick up a receiver in a free agency or trade? I'm in. I love Downs a lot. I really do. I like him a lot. I don't know. Dane was talking about him possibly falling. I don't think he's going to get out of the top 10. So you're going to have to move up. Can you get to 7 with the commies? I'd trade 16 and pick 44 for Caleb Downs. Would you guys? I would. I don't get the sense there's a ton of great players in this draft, and Downs is one of them. So I would do it. Hit the like button. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Spencer Green in the raffle for 2. I would like to do 2 entries for Yo Holmes. He seems to be a draft expert giving high-level info. Further, he seems to be going through it today. Hope he wins. This guy's a clown, but he's persistent. Okay, so Spencer Green with the passive-aggressive super chat that ended with him dunking on Yo Holmes at the end of the day. Alrighty then. Jet fans, you know what I'm going to say.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
Spencer Green, I'm putting you in for 2. You tell me what to do with the prize should you win it. Spencer Green also just became a channel member again. Spencer, they let you out of the loony bin. Good to have you back.
You know, thinking is overrated.
That's how Spencer operates life. He's in the raffle for one. Thank you, Spencer. Dana says, and Dana, thanks for being a channel member for 20 months. When you're a channel member, you get a free super chat every month. It's one of the perks of your membership. Jermaine was never going to be worth extending. We don't know that. He tore his Achilles after he was a Pro Bowl alternate at the end of year 2. I don't know what Jermaine would have been if he never had the Achilles injury. I think he's going to go to Salah and probably play really well again because he would be 2 years removed from that injury, and Salah knows how to use him. And we can knock Salah as a head coach all you want. The man can coach defense, and we saw players develop under him. Quincy Williams was a waiver wire pickup, became a first-team All-Pro linebacker. JFM was a waiver wire pickup, became a guy that got paid. Guys got better. Sauce was never at his best unless Salah was the head coach. Same with Quinnen. At his best when Salah was the head coach. Sherwood, at his best when Salah was the head coach. He could coach defense. And I think it's unfortunate that Jermaine got hurt because I think he wanted to be a Jet and was made of the right stuff, and it didn't work out. Unfortunate. All right, we're going to get to your last remaining calls before the raffle. Let me talk about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Rula. Rula is going to help you, Jet fans, because you already know being a Jet fan is not easy. It's stressful. Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, the offseason, the draft, free agency. Being invested in the Jets is a full-time emotional commitment, and a lot of guys carry that same stress into work, family life, relationships, all of it. I've seen friends and people in my life benefit from therapy when things start piling up. The problem is it's usually hard to get started or it's way too expensive. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare provider group that makes therapy simple and affordable. They work with the most major insurance plans, and the average copay is about $15 per session, which is less than a beer at MetLife Stadium. With Rula, you get matched with licensed, vetted therapists who actually fit what you're looking for, and you can book sessions fast, sometimes as soon as the next day. No long waits, no guessing, no nonsense. If you're ready to invest in your mental health the same way you invest in the Jets every week, go to Rula.com/Asman to get started today. That's RULA.com/Asman. Take the first step and take control of your mental health with Rula. All right, to your calls we go. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who is pumped up that the New York Jets have acquired a Texas Longhorn.
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
Look at this guy. He's got the jersey. Wow. Finally one that didn't age poorly for you.
Yeah, now I got to get the Jets jersey. I'm assuming as they confirm it's 93, I'm all in. I hope he doesn't disappoint, Jake. This is a good trade, right? Like, this is good for us? This is
well,
a
you
good
watched
trade?
him in college, so what were your thoughts on him as a college player?
It's different because he, like they were saying, I haven't watched him much in the NFL. I watched him a little bit here and there when I can, but he plays for the Titans. I'm not watching a ton of them, right? In college, he's an every down guy because in college, in the Big 12, he could dominate offensive lines and get it after the quarterback. But what I understand is he doesn't really get it after the quarterback, so he's just a run stopper. So he's just a 2-down player in the NFL. I haven't watched a ton of him in the NFL, but that's at Texas. He was one of the most dominant players in college football. He's 6 foot 360, right? And he can move. So in college, he dominated like no other. He was really one of like a handful of the most dominant players in college at that time. He was a freak. But in the NFL, he doesn't get after the quarterback. Is that basically what the read is on him? Is that he's basically a first and second down player?
Yeah, he's not shown the pass rush skills that the Titans apparently, if you believe our guest who's there in Nashville talking about them every day, were telling people that they could justify how high of a pick he was because he's elite against the run and he would be a really solid pass rusher from that interior spot.
Again, I haven't watched a ton of him in the NFL because he plays for the Titans. You said you don't know what it's like to cover the Titans? Well, you got a pretty good guess. It's probably similar to covering the Jets. Probably not that much different.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know what would enrage me if I'm the Titans? Watching Mike Vrabel go to the Super Bowl when we all knew he was a great coach and they never should have fired him.
Yeah. Why did they fire him?
Ownership issues.
Ownership issues?
They
Nothing professional, strictly
Yeah, their
personal?
owners are horrible. She's detested in that city. And the GM and Vrabel didn't get along. The A.J. Brown trade was like the beginning and the end.
You can see it all starts at the top. When you have a bad owner, it's hard to build a winner.
That we can relate to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Being a Titans, covering the Titans and probably covering the Jets is probably more similar than it is different. But I woke up to this news, and I was like a kid on Christmas. T'Vondre Sweat is one of my 4 favorite Longhorns of all time. I love T'Vondre Sweat. He was that good at Texas. How is he going to work out in the NFL? I mean, let's be careful what we wish for, but we don't know how Jermaine Johnson was going to. And I was against drafting Jermaine Johnson, but he ended up being pretty good. But when you look at it, he's been there 4 years, right? He's really only had one good season. His first year, he didn't do much. The second season was a Pro Bowl season. Then his third year, he got hurt. And last year, was he really that impactful? So I don't really see any downside in the trade. They're going to draft the pass rusher, number 2 overall, I would imagine. Who that is, I guess we can debate. We'll find out in a couple of months. But they were moving on from Jermaine anyway. So now we got a legitimate run stuffer, right? Like, whatever you think of T'Vondre Sweat, he can stuff the run. Like, he fills space and stuffs the run. He can do that. He's 6'3", 360, and athletic. Just on that alone, 6 foot 360, and he can move. Just on that alone, you got some value. If he ever gets it, yeah.
Look, we have a good D-line coach, Gary, so I like the fact that I trust Carl Dunbar, if there's talent, to get it out of him. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this man's thoughts on the trade that the New York Jets have made earlier today. Jermaine Johnson to Tennessee for T'Vondre Sweat.
£360. Wow. That's a Bam Bam Bigelow kind of physique kind of a guy. Not too bad. Little chunky, not too bad. But at least get 2 more of those guys and you got yourself a winner. Well, we gotta focus on one other thing. Get a safety. We need a safety. We need some gaps to fill. We got a lot of ground to cover. We ain't done yet. We barely just gotten started. It's like taking down an old tree. Example, when the limbs are bad, get rid of them. Where do you throw them? Into the wood chipper. We got a long way to go. We've only just begun. Muji's doing
Beast. If Aaron Glenn called you and said, "Look, we've added some size to our D line, but you're the missing piece. Are you joining the squad?"
Let's not get our panties in a bundle first. I'm 41 going 42. I don't have that ball strength to get kicked around like a ping pong ball. Maybe back then I was 25. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you get older, you gotta take it one step back.
Like I gas right now.
Honestly, sign Beast, let him unleash a loud, intimidating fart week 1 on whoever we're playing, then come off the field. Damage has been done. Run the ball on the opponent's D-line's throat with Brees. There's your game plan. See what I did there, folks? Innovation. More calls. As Maniac Madness. Bracket reveal is Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, the champ for the 2025 As Maniac Madness tournament is on the line.
The only thing worse than the New York Jets is cheap-ass shoes and head coach blues. At least we got Muji and some first-round picks. Jake, my brother, I'm trying to get hype. But this team sucks, and Joe Bones, he needs me to sell new flippers to this fat dumpster fire.
Jake, my brother.
Bonesy.
Oh, buddy. I don't know how to feel about the trade. I wish it was Sherwood in the trade. And I feel like D tackles are much easier to find than D ends. Look what we were left with, like what we had on our squad with, McGregor and Watts and just guys. It's not easy finding players who you can tap into all pro potential almost. And yes, we don't know what Jermaine would have been, but you got to love the guy for his energy, his mindset. I love listening to Jermaine talk in his interviews. So obviously there's a plan to it. I'm sure they're looking at it like, oh, well, now we got Sweat for 2 years and we're going to draft a D end at 2. So it made more sense to have Sweat here for 2 years and we get a run stopper. But I just always think you could find a a Snacks or Fadakasi or even a Leonard Taylor who we let go, and look what he did with the Patriots last year. I feel like D tackle is much easier to find than D end. So but we got to trust Muji a little bit because he's made a lot of trades and he's made a lot of great trades so far up until this point. So and he obviously can analyze defensive tackles because Briggs and Phillips were great trades. So, but you know what this does show us though, Jake? This is why I can't get into draft mode yet, because we need to see what happens in free agency. Because people who we make these trades before the draft and who we sign, like Caleb Downs, it seems like a great pick, but we might have our eyes set on, there's a lot of free agent safeties coming out. I think Duggar and there's a couple of really good safeties that could maybe fit in the scheme that Glenn wants to run. So that's why I need to see free agency first. I need to see what quarterback direction we go in, because I really, really want to throw over the football. I really want Kirk or Derek Carr or one of these guys that if they sprain their ankle, the game isn't over, Like I need a guy who we have a great offensive line and we have a offensive coordinator who likes to throw the ball and I don't know. I don't want I personally don't want a Malik Willis or anyone who could have a knee pain and he's just not the same quarterback. I need a thrower of the football. And free agency is where I'm at right now. I want Bailey, to be honest, at 2 over Arvell Reese. In my heart, I want a true pass rusher rather than the chest play. But how do you personally feel about this Jermaine trade?
I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's a solid move with a clear indicator of the scheme they're going to run defensively, and they need to pick an identity and stick to it. So I like that. And again, I just think it's unfortunate what happened with Jermaine getting hurt and how bad this past season was. We never really got to see what his full potential could have been. But I understand what the Jets are doing, and I think we're going to get Arvell Reese now at 2, who I'm excited about.
Yeah, Arvell Reese, I love his potential. Sometimes I hate drafting on potential, but I'll leave that up to the professionals because that's not me. But when you watch, I listen to all of the guys all the interviews you could find for the players talking at the combine, and Bailey impressed me the most. He's a smart dude. You could tell he's a smart dude. I like Bain as well in his interview. I liked all of them, but I did like Bailey the best. I liked his interview the best, especially when he sat down with Sims and Florio. That was a good interview.
Not Brian Flores, as my dad confused the two yesterday. Oh my God!
What though? Watching your dad and Gary Ballin stuff, that stuff is awesome compared to sometimes when. Don't get mad at me, Beast, but it's just going. It was awesome. Your dad made me laugh multiple times.
I'll tell the call more. Hey, Bones, I have Matt Miller from ESPN about to sit down and join me, so I got to let you run.
Yep.
All right. You heard me just spoil who the guest is. I'm going to get Matt Miller on, then wrap up with your calls, and we have the raffle. That's right. This is a near 3-hour show. I am busting my tail to put out content for this amazing community, and we have one of the preeminent NFL draft analysts that is moments away from sitting down at our table. So short break. We come right back. Matt Miller, longtime ESPN draft guru, will be joining us live from the NFL Scouting Combine right after these short words.
This team is not well coached. Oh, and I heard Rebecca said she wanted to marry a guy like me. Well, Rebecca, I would love for you to deflower me.
Whoa. Keep it in your pants, Gorman. This is a family show.
I was told to say it, so.
I don't care who told you to say it. Sick.
I'm an idiot.
Oh, someone told me to say it, so I have to say it. Oh, I'm Charles Gorman.
I didn't really watch the game because I was with a friend. I was at the Woodbridge Center Mall.
This is a brutal call. You didn't watch the game?
I checked the box score.
You didn't watch the game?
I was with a friend, Jake.
So you chose a comic book convention over your football team? What type of fan are you?
Apparently not a good one. I wanted to spend time with a friend, Jake. Is that something wrong?
Yes. Now, was this friend of yours a woman? Was she going to make sweet and passionate love to you?
His name was Preston, and he's been my best friend for a while.
So you hung out with a dude all day instead of watching your team? What are we doing?
Shame.
Beast, I could care less what you think.
Shame.
So
what a lousy loser he turned out to be. Gorman, you've lost every bit of my respect. You clown sucking douchebag.
Sir Lucas says, does Preston dress up like a comic book chick? Good question.
He did not dress up like a chick. He's not a cross-dresser.
Calm down. Is Preston your friend or gay lover?
Not gay lover.
So you went to a comic book convention with Preston, who's your friend and not gay lover?
Yes.
Because you know the Jets.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.
We are back inside the Indiana Convention Center, and joining me right now is one of the best NFL draft analysts out there. You check him out all the time on ESPN. It is Matt Miller. Matt, I'm glad we can make this work.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jake.
So the Jets now at number 2, following the big trade today of Jermaine Johnson and getting back to T'Vondre Sweat. Feels like they're clearly going to go edge. What would you do at number 2?
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. And thankfully, it's a year where there's several good edge prospects. So I think, bringing in T'Vondre Sweat gives us some of the puzzle pieces to put together, right? That this team's moving to probably more of a 30 front, at least as a base. So I think you can rule out Ruben Bain because he's not the type of stand-up outside rusher that you're going to want in a 30 front. So now you get to Arvell Reese from Ohio State, David Bailey from Texas Tech. I personally have Arvell Reese rated a little bit higher than David Bailey. I think some of that's on upside, some of that's on the speed that he plays with, on top of having, really good hand strength, really good lower body power, versatility, in that he can be that Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter type player. But I would say today the edge would be to Arvell Reese, but we're about 2 hours before workout. So a lot could change in a little bit.
For you as someone who does this year round, how big is this week in terms of your final evals on prospects?
It's big. And it's crazy to me. A lot of people want to, kind of turn their nose up at the combine or make jokes about it. But why turn away 27, 28 years of historical data? Why not use that information to say, like today, Ruben Bain's arm length comes out. You can pretty quickly look and say he would be the shortest armed edge rusher drafted in the first round in the last 28 years. So are you willing to bet on him as an outlier? That information does matter to me. And the same with athletic testing. We're going to get 3-cone times, vertical jumps, 40 times, short shuttle. And I think you would be kind of arrogant to not use that information to help make an informed decision, right? That's what analytics is essentially. It's like using data to help make decisions. Yes, film matters, tape matters, but I think looking at the context of the numbers we get this week, it does help inform my process at least.
So you mentioned, of course, that Reese feels like the likely pick at 2. If they were to go Bailey, how would he fit? What type of player would the Jets be getting?
Yeah, I mean, he's all speed around the edge, but I think he brings really good effort in the run game, and he does have some power element, which you have to have. As a pass rush evaluation, I'm always going to want guys that have that speed to power conversion. Reese has it a little bit better than Bailey just based on size and strength, but Bailey does have it. He's 6'3", 250. He can play with leverage and win with speed. And I think at Texas Tech, we saw him in a lot of stand-up alignments. So it's easy to watch that Texas Tech defense and be like, okay, what would it look like in our defense? There it is. Like they showed you weekly what he could do.
How about a pick 16 for the Jets? It feels like there's a myriad of different ways this board could kind of break in front of them. If I asked you for what the dream scenario would be at 16, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think your hope is that, maybe Jermaine McCoy, the corner from Tennessee, who's not testing this week after missing the year with an ACL, maybe he's on the board at 16. One of the wide receivers, maybe Jordan Tyson from Arizona State is available. I'm going to plant my flag now. I'm firmly in the don't take Ty Simpson camp for the Jets.
So am I.
I think you have 3 first-round picks in 2027. You have them for a reason. Use those picks to get your quarterback. I think this year you build the foundation. You have your pieces on the edges of the offensive line. Now, fill in the gaps. Get your edge rusher. Go get another receiver to complement Garrett Wilson. Go get a corner to replace Sauce Gardner. I think those are the moves you look to make at 16.
What about a pick 33 for the Jets? Even pick 44, if there's that scenario where Ty does really drop, does he make sense there, or would you still bypass taking him altogether?
I mean, if he's there at 44, I think that's where you talk about value. And that goes into your evaluation as a team. Do you think he could ever be a starter? If you think he could be a starter, then you just take him at 16 and you don't risk that, right? So how's the value proposition different at 16 and 44? Are you saying at 44, like, all right, there's no one else on the board that we think could be a starter. We think this guy maybe could be, so we'll take him. We see that every year with quarterbacks who have a second or third round grade, they fall, right? Because teams are saying, we don't think you'll be a starter for us, but we could probably get a starting right guard in the second round, or a starting corner in the second round, or a starting guard linebacker in the third. So that's where you have to have those conversations of what's on the board right here, and are there players that could be starters for us versus taking a quarterback who, if you don't have a starter grade on, why take them there?
Are there any quarterbacks in this draft, Matt, that are intriguing, maybe day 3 type of dart throws?
I think Cole Payton is the most intriguing day 3 guy. I think Drew Aller will probably go 3rd round. Garrett Nussmeier probably goes 3rd round. Carson Beck probably goes 3rd round. So if we take them off the table, Cade Klubnik is interesting to me because I think there's a lot to work with there. But Cole Payton from North Dakota State is the one where, like, why not bet on traits? And why not bet on somebody that you're hoping can continue to be developed? You know, he was a wildcat quarterback the first 3 years at North Dakota State. This past year, first year really as a full-time starter, played well, good Senior Bowl week. I think you'll have a good week here. Like if I'm gonna roll the dice on a quarterback on day 3, like let's bet on traits or somebody that won a ton of games in college, and he did both.
How about if the Jets are just looking at their options at 16 and they have the extra draft capital? Who would you trade up for? Is there a guy that you, if they start to slide,
There's
you move up?
no way. No, not this year.
What about Caleb Downs? Let's say he starts to slide. Could you come up to 7 with the Commanders and make a deal?
No, because you're giving up a first-round pick next year to come up.
Do you think? What do you think? 16 and let's say pick 44 of round 2 could potentially get you.
I mean, maybe that gets you to 12, right? I mean, maybe. I just don't think you trade up for anything but a quarterback and an elite left tackle or an elite pass rusher. Like when the Texans traded up to get Will Anderson, cool. That's a good trade. Do that. But look, the Falcons traded up last year to get James Pierce and Javon Walker. How is that? That hasn't really worked out well for them at this point. So I'm just anti-trading up, especially there's no way in hell I would give up a 2027 draft pick right now.
Those are untouchable.
Untouchable. Like ask for my firstborn before asking for a 2027 draft pick because next year's class looks like it could be historic. I would rather move off this year's draft into next year's than give up anything for next year. And so to your point, like, okay, what if it's 16 and 44? This isn't a team that's 1 player away. This is a team that's 12 players away. I think you need as many swings of the bat as possible instead of, you know, even if you trade for Caleb Downs, say he becomes the next Kyle Hamilton, how much of a difference is that for a team that doesn't have a quarterback, doesn't have a wide receiver 2, doesn't have a number 1 corner, doesn't have an elite pass rusher yet? Maybe they get that guy too. There are just too many holes for me to ever justify giving up another starting caliber player to get 1 guy.
So a huge need for the Jets is one of the things you just said, a wide receiver 2 next to Garrett Wilson. Give us the pecking order of receivers for you and maybe some options for the Jets with some of their picks.
Yeah, so I have Mekhi Lemon, USC number 1. Then I've got Carnell Tate from Ohio State number 2. I think they'll both be off the board by 16. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State potentially is in that mix right there. He would be 3rd for me. Then I have Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana at 4. And I have Denzel Boston from Washington at 5. So those would be my 5 guys that I'm like, those are first rounders. I think after that, you get to Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M, Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. They're in that mix. And then you get to like Elijah Surratt, the other Indiana wide receiver. But it's a deep receiver class. I had 18 in my top 100, 11 in my top 50. So the Jets are in a good spot. We could see, 7 receivers in the first round, but you're still in a pretty good spot to get one.
Next year with the 3 firsts in 2027. And I know we always say, next year's quarterback class is going to be better, but I'd be shocked if it's not better, just given we're looking at maybe only 1 potentially going in the first round this year. As we sit here, just how good could next year's class be? Because I have Jet fans who tune in every day, and we're already talking about marching for Arch and just getting the top pick a year from now and finally trying to get our long-term answer at that position.
Yeah, so you're right. We always say wait till next year. But here's what I'll say about next year. If Arch Manning was in this class, he would have been the number 1 pick. If Dante Moore was in this class, he'd be the number 2 pick. If Brandon Sorsby was in this class, he'd be a top 15 pick. So it's not like last year where we said, if these guys all hit these markers, they'll be first rounders. It's truly a situation where these guys are already, they would have been first round picks. They just opted to go back to school. And so it's not the hype that we are normally selling you on Lenore Sellers or Garrett Nussmeier. It's legit. These guys would have been first round picks this year.
You've been doing this a long time. What is your favorite draft memory or a draft that you've been a part of that you've been covering?
Gosh. I mean, my first draft was 2012 at Radio City, and walking down the walkway at Radio City and finding my seat in the press pool, Bleacher Report, Matt Miller, like I'm covering the draft in person. That will be untouchable as far as memories go.
You think they should bring it back to Radio City one of these years?
No. When you get 400,000 people to show up to Nashville, Tennessee to watch the draft.
That was the first draft I've ever been at in person, 2019.
It's never, Kansas City, I think there was like 500,000 people there. They're never going to put it back in Radio City. They might put it back in New York, but it won't be in Radio City.
Yeah, I'll be in Pittsburgh this year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I've heard great things about the city.
Same. I'm excited. I've not been, but I'm excited to be there. I just need time to hit a Pirates game while I'm there. That's my only request.
I'm PNC Park. It looks like great. All right, quick hitters for you here at the end. What is the player in this draft that not enough people are talking about?
Yeah, I will say D'Angelo Ponce from Indiana. And he's an older
Dane
prospect.
Brugler said the same thing.
That's funny. He's an older prospect, a smaller guy. But if you just ask me who's your favorite player to watch, he would be on that list.
It's funny because people have said he kind of plays how Aaron Glenn, the player, played when he was in the NFL.
That's a very good comp, yeah. And a great compliment for Ponce.
Give us the position group that is underrated in this draft class.
Yeah, I think it's safety. We could see 3 safeties in the first round. More safeties than quarterbacks and running backs combined. The safety group is strong in round 1. And then I think we have really good depth all the way through.
After we get through the first initial picks, where is the spot for Jeremiah Love?
Man, I think it starts at probably at 6. And I don't know that he gets past Kansas City at 9. But but also like the Cardinals could take him at 3. Like crazy things could happen. But I think 6 is where you kind of start the conversation. 7 to Washington, 8 to Cincinnati, or 8 to New Orleans. Those are the sweet spots for him, I think.
And favorite restaurant when you're here at the Combine every year to hang out at?
I think I'm contractually obligated to say St. Elmo's, but they're all good. Like I've never been to a bad restaurant in Indianapolis.
Do you try the shrimp cocktail? Is that for you?
Of course, you got to. Yeah.
It's become like a tourist thing at this point.
Yeah, and
a rite of passage.
I'm always dealing with like sinus stuff when I'm here, and that's a quick fix.
Love it. Well, good luck this week. I know you're going to be on the air. Tom, where can people find you?
Yeah, turn on ESPN over the next 4 or 5 days, and good chance you'll see me. But we're doing daily notebooks as well, so ESPN.com if you want to read content or NFL Draft Daily every day at 3 o'clock.
Check it out. Matt Miller will be a part of the coverage for ESPN throughout the week. Matt, you're the man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Matt Miller from ESPN. Quick break. We continue live from Radio Row right after this.
Right now, what I need to have happen, Charles, I need you to put on the Gorman tank. It's Friday. The vibes are high. Put on the Charles Gorman-inspired Jake Asman Show tank top for the people.
I will maybe next week.
What? Put it on. Put it on. Oh, my God. He's doing it.
Football is back, bitches.
Give us one more spin around, all right?
Give us the full modeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the ass. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Charles, would you like to respond to Gator? He says you look like you combed your hair with a pack of firecrackers. How come you didn't congratulate him?
I did on the baby. Yeah, he had a...
You didn't say this, though.
Hey, congrats on the sex.
Congrats on the sex. Oh, my God.
Yeah, how do you think babies are made?
No, it's funny. True story. When I was a kid, I actually thought I came from a stork. I shit you not, man. Like, you have all these dreams and shit. It's like, here you go, here's your baby. That's what happened to me when I was a kid.
So to be clear, you were not acquired via stork, right?
Yes, I was biologically made by my mother and father.
Dennis Gorman?
And my mother, Roseanne.
Shout out to them. They did a great job with you, Charles.
Was it sweet and passionate, or are you unaware of those details?
Why do I need to know those details?
I don't know. Maybe it would have. You wanted to know whether it was stork or baby making, so I don't know. Just figured you'd want intricate levels of detail.
My parents made love twice. They gave birth to my brother, and they gave birth to me.
Okay. Thank you very much for clearing that up.
Oh, man. We're back here at the NFL Scouting Combine. Big thank you to ESPN's Matt Miller for joining the show. I told you guys, big guest. We've gotten you Dane. We've gotten you Matt. All right, we got you Connor Rogers. That hasn't even aired yet. So if you want the preeminent draft analysis, you're finding it on this show. Real quick, I want to hit on this. I'll probably talk more about this in future shows. So the Colts are officially giving Anthony Richardson an opportunity to seek a trade. 23 years old, former number 4 overall pick. I'm not anti the Jets bringing him in. Not to be the starter, but to compete for the starting job with a true veteran. Compete with a Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. At least you're swinging on upside here. Now, I'm not giving up a ton for him, but Anthony Richardson, for a 5th-round pick, I would do it. I would. At least there's upside. He's talented. Maybe Frank Reich could work with him and Bill Musgrave could work with him and coach him up. I don't know. So, again, I don't want him to be the starter. I'm not saying trade for Anthony Richardson and we're set. But I would definitely take him and be okay with him being in the quarterback room. We'll see if the Jets agree. All right. Couple more calls. I have the raffle as well. If you want in, this will be the only true long-form live show because I'm at the 3-hour mark today. And we have a lot of interviews to still post on the channel. So make sure you get in for the Sign Wing Corbett helmet because that is coming up shortly here on our show. Ladies and gentlemen, your last remaining calls. Jordan's next. Hey, Jordan.
What's up, Jake? It's been a while since I called in. Life's been a little bit different for me.
Hey, you better be locked in Sunday night. The bracket reveal's coming out.
All right, I'll be watching then. I'll be off. But I wanted to talk about the trade today because, like you said, I don't love it, but I don't hate it as well, because I just feel like we're still missing pieces on the D line, and they need to add the pieces to it instead of like trading away guys that are already good established players. Even though he had a down year and like we were highly critical of him, Jermaine was a key piece to this team and a key leader on this team. And he brought everything to this team and brought that edge that this team needed, that Aaron Glenn's looking for. So even though he may have not produced the most highest overall statistics, he was still a very, very good player. And that's why they traded him. But it's just like, I feel like they could have kept him and like maybe just traded for Sweat instead, for picks or whatever, and still add to this D line through the draft where there's still plenty of guys where you could go get. Like you and Matt
I don't
Miller
think you
were
would trade picks for him. I think the trade makes sense because you're clearing the cap, and like I don't want to trade picks for him. I understand what they're doing here. Again, Jermaine Johnson I like, but he wasn't a scheme fit, you could argue, and he was going into year 5 of his deal. You probably weren't going to pay him, and you have the second pick to replace him with someone who fits the 3-4 and what the Jets want. So again, it's bittersweet because I really like Jermaine Johnson as a human being, and it's unfortunate he got hurt, Jordan, but I think you're a little more negative on the trade than you have to be. I think Sweat fits what they're doing, and you could see the vision for what the defense they want to be.
I agree with that too. Like he is a better fit for the team for that scheme and what they're trying to change to do, especially with the new D-line coach that we have back. He's definitely going to help out a ton. But it's just I just feel like I don't want them to get away from drafting good defensive linemen from this draft either, because other than just like at the top. Because we still need to add that depth to this team, because we don't want Michael Clemens playing anymore. We still need more depth to the team as well.
And they're going to sign guys. That's what free agency is for. They also have a very good defensive tackle / DN class, an extra pick at 16, 33, and 44.
Yeah. And there's so many receivers too, other than Tate. Like Omar Cooper Jr. is being slept on so many with 13 touchdowns. He made every play.
Matt Miller just talked about him. If you saw my interview,
yeah, I was watching, and he did great. And he said, but we're just missing so many players. Like he said, like we're missing like 12 players or more for this team to be filled out. So it's just I just hope they do the right things with these picks and they just take the best possible players possible.
Yeah, Jordan, great call. Again, you have to trust that they have a plan. That's it. I can't tell you they're going to be successful, but I think Muji has shown some competency being here talking with more people. That's my takeaway from this week. I think we have a GM. Now, they clearly got to work in a tandem, the head coach and the GM, to get players that fit the scheme, which is what they're doing. But the goal is to hit on draft picks by getting good players, and good coaches adapt and figure out the rest from there. That's what's supposed to happen. Snake Plyskin sends shout out to Peter Castro. Happy 75th birthday. I don't think it's 75, but I see what you're doing. Bang! Bang! Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Big thank you to everyone who's tuned in here. We got the raffle coming up. This has been a marathon show, huh? 3 hours plus. Cynthia W. in the raffle now for 5 more entries. Let's go, Cynthia.
It's J-E-T-S, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
I like Jermaine, but I like the trade. AG stunk last year, but Woody kept him. AG made mistakes, but I hope he will learn from them and turn this around. I'm moving forward and support what AG and Muji do. Let's go, Jets. Cynthia, that's all you could do as a fan, right? Hope that the head coach learns and gets better, because if he doesn't, we all suffer.
Play call is my superpower, really.
And now he's going to use his superpower. He was just messing around in year 1. He wanted to put himself in quite the hole. He wanted everyone to count him out before he started using his superpower, right? He was just putting the game on, extra hard mode, and now he's going to flip the switch and play it on easy mode now that he has his superpower.
Play call is my superpower, really.
That's how you got to look at it. He's got his powers now. Hopefully there's no kryptonite. All right, more calls. Are we ready for a little Five Brows? We better be. Hello, Five Brows.
Hey, what's up, man? Just trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
That's
I'm
it.
using my superpowers. I want to ask, how do I
don't let go of the rope?
how do I get to be in the tournament? I guess I'm not funny enough, but if I do, I would.
Well, there's 68 callers that make it, plus honorable mentions who don't get in. The committee has to have ranked you as one of the best 68 over the last calendar year.
I gotta be a little. I gotta just be a little weird, or maybe I'll get more. But anyway,
Are you saying there's no one normal of the 68?
I mean, like, I'm not gonna say that. I think Gary's pretty normal, but and
Well, that's a bad take.
Neil's normal. No.
Well, that's also a bad take.
I mean, you got some normal guys. I'm trying to be nice. Anyway, all right. So I'll do better. I'll get seated another time. But I would want.
I didn't say you didn't make it. One, I don't have the bracket. I haven't really looked at it. I was in the committee meeting during the initial stuff, but again, I try to not really give my input because I want to be unbiased and just allow the people who are dedicated to making this show, the Asmaniac community, their voice is heard and trying to do this as fairly as possible. You can't make everyone happy though. Like it's impossible to rank callers into a Jet YouTube show with any like clear formula that's going to make everyone satisfied.
Yeah, 100%. I think Mad Max should be in the top 10. He has some really good calls. Anyway, talk trade. Devondre Sweat. That guy is. I understand how it's bittersweet for Jermaine Johnson and guys like Jets fans that really like Jermaine Johnson. He was a good player for us, but I think this is a good trade for us because this is what we need. We need to get our front seven strong. We need some D tackles. This guy's 360. He's basically like our Vince Wilfork. I think he's gonna be an asset for us, and I think it'll be a good trade. Hopefully, it works out. And I saw your interview with Rich Eisen, and I like you, like a little on the fence with Arvo Reese and how he like his interview, but I don't want to like overreact to interviews. If you look at this guy's tape and even Rich Eisen's response, he was like, "This guy's a dog." Like, I'm looking at his tape. This guy is a fucking beast. Like, he can just be a game wrecker we need, and like that's what we need. And I think he's gonna blow up the combine today. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs sub 4.55, maybe 4.47, like James Pierce. So I'm excited. And then Ruben Bain, him getting 30-inch arms, he has to test well at the combine now. I think he has 10-yard split. It's probably super important now. And I feel bad for the kid because he's a good player, but his stock's probably plummeting a little bit. But maybe we can get him at 16. I know some guys say he's not the right scheme fit for us, but I mean, Dwight Freeney had the same length arms as he did. So I'm not all out on Ruben Bain. Obviously not a pick 2, but if he falls, I mean, shit, why not?
Well, I mean, look, if he falls, then obviously maybe you could get someone who wants him and trade out, or you just take him and you figure it out because he's a really good player. But they have options, Five Brows, and you got to just hope that they have a sound process towards getting it right. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping for a receiver at 16, but I wouldn't be mad if defense is just our primary focus for this year, so we build a foundation. Because there's some other pass rushers, other good players like Cassius Howell, Sonny Styles, Jermod McCoy, Peter Woods, and Caden McDonald at pick 33. I would be happy with all those guys. And even at 44, if you guys really want a receiver, Malachi Fields looks like the next DK Metcalf. And that's basically all I had to say. But yeah.
Five Brows, I appreciate you. And tune in Sunday night at 6 Eastern to find out if you and the other Asmaniacs made it into the tournament. Who's going to cut down the net? Will it be Gary, who's not normal? Gary, will it be you?
That was a great take by Five Brow. If Five Brow's in, he's got my vote. Shout out Five Brow. That was a great call.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gary 3D Boxing. Very normal.
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
All right, are we ready for the raffle? We're going to give away a signed Wayne Corbett helmet on our show. This has been a 3-hour and 15-minute plus talk show, breaking Jet news. It never fails. Man, you guys are so loyal and so supportive. Thank you to everyone who sent in gifted memberships and super chats to enter today. You're also automatically qualified for the weekly raffle. Because of the schedule, we're going to move that to Saturday because I'm traveling tomorrow afternoon, so probably won't be able to do a full live show. So it's just easier with my schedule to wait till Saturday because I'll give you guys a Saturday show. Garrett Wilson signed football, Darrell Rivas signed helmet, and Joe Namath signed helmet are the top prizes in that one. Ladies and gentlemen, before we spin the Wheel of Champions, we have to check in with the master of raffle ceremony. Beast.
I need some combo. Anybody for combos? Hey, you get it for $2.99. Nah.
Are you okay, Beast? You don't sound very good.
I'm tired. I took a 3-hour nap because I didn't get much sleep. Toss, turn, toss. But let me just let me just try this here. In a Bob Nelson way, let's try something here. Now, Tony Cappuccino, Brooklyn University, he's about to say it's right now. Let's spin the 2026 Wheel of Champions. And don't you know what I'm saying? Hey, Pet Jack, take it away. Let's wheel it.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
I don't know how Beast does it, folks. That's a man's man right there. Unbelievable. Hey, good luck to everyone. We're all winners around here. But only one can win the Wayne Corbett autographed helmet. If you do win, email me, asmanjake@gmail, your name, your address, so we know where to send it to. If you don't do that, I don't know where to send it, so you might be out of luck. All right, good luck to all. And again, thank you to everyone who makes these things possible. We started this as a little listener appreciation in the summer to do daily prizes, and now we've been able to not only just do daily prizes, sometimes 2 shows a day with a prize at the end of each. We've been able to combine entries and do bigger prizes. We've had more and more weekly prizes, so you guys are the best for making this a staple of the show. Here we go. One winner of the autographed Wayne Corbett helmet, and that winner is listener Bill Fun. Congratulations to Bill. He's an OG listeners of the show. Let's go, Bill. Wayne Corbett helmet is yours.
And here we go. Let's go.
Congratulations to Bill. He's the winner of the raffle prize. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in. Check out the podcast version of the show on Apple or Spotify if you tuned in late. Sign up for the Patreon if you really want to support me. Get in the Discord. Asmaniac Madness is upon us. If you want updates on the bracket, the schedule, when you're going to be facing your opponent, you got to be a Patreon member and get in the Discord. That's what it's all about. On that note, I will talk to you guys later today with new videos on the channel, but they might not be live. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. But be on the lookout. I'll post in the Discord what's coming your way once I have a better feel for things, because I've been sitting in this chair for 3.5 hours, and yeah, things have been happening around me, and I got to go figure out what's been happening at the Combine, because we've been locked in on these jet trades. Again, thank you to all my guests who sat down with me: Matt Miller, Dane Brugler, Jared Stillman, Nick Faria, Richie Stickers, all incredible guests. What a show. Talk to you guys soon. Live from Indy, this has been the Jake Asman Show. Go Jets.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.